Hey, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Hey, Ocean Air. Oh, yeah, man. Well, I'm glad you guys are working and working hard, but peace to you. And what's up? Glad you got to stop in and say hello. I'm always happy to see you. Let's see, so we got two people in here. Sure, it'll build up here a little bit. I know this is a little impromptu, guys. I don't have the next video ready. So since I don't have the next video ready, I decided just to do a live stream real quick. So that you guys have something, someone to talk to, something to do. What's up, Yaggersil? Good to see you, man. Dude, I haven't even been on StarCraft since the last live stream, like at all. I have not played video games much at all. It has been so busy with everything. What's up, Billy? Good to see you, man. Alex, howdy back. Gosh, man, it always fills up quick in here, doesn't it? Well, I don't know what anybody wants to talk about today. I've got some cool stuff going on. I know there's just a plain, white wall behind me, but be exciting anyways, right? Maybe we can step out in the warehouse and stuff here in a minute. I am cooking grain spawn, so I'll need to check on that. Let's see, Country Boy Podcast. What's up? Glad to see you, man. Welcome to the channel. I'll have to check you out. Been wanting to get into some podcasting myself. I've been looking at microphones and stuff. Ben and I and Spanther. I think I'm actually about turning this space into the podcast studio. By the way, I don't know how the sound is in here. It feels a little echoey to me. Is it really terrible? Yeah, actually, yeah. Help us figure out something to talk about. Something we can all understand. None of that college level stuff you do. Live tour. We can do a live tour. We won't do it right this second because I want to stay on in the air conditioning for a few minutes. But we will absolutely do one. If you let me know before you leave or anything, man. So because I'll try to do it before you go. We won't spend too long in here. My Psilocybe indica never fruited on hardwood fuel pellets and alfalfa. Have you tried any yet? I have some on hardwood fuel pellets and Master's Mix, and I just put it in the grow room Friday evening. So I'm trying it right now in the heat. What I've heard is that one needs a lot of heat. So if you have a room at like 65 degrees, like I normally keep mine, then it's probably, a heat problem. My friends and I just started a mushroom farm, and your videos have helped a lot. Well, thanks, the Country Boy. Appreciate it. I am so thirsty today. My friends and I sound seems decent. Good. I am happy to hear that. It has been crazy trying to find a place that had any sort of lighting that worked at all. So my King Blues are doing amazing, but my Black Pearl don't fruit at all. So Black Pearl, much like a King Oyster, actually does need some cooler weather. So maybe it is getting too warm for you, Yggdrasil. King Blue loves the heat. It doesn't like hot because it'll start getting blotch at really high temperatures. But it is it's got a really wide range, whereas the Black Pearl, in my opinion, likes it cooler. Adam Bolton says, "Hey, Andrew, sent you an email." Oh, yes, I got that email. I meant to answer it, and it got lost in the shuffle while I've been working on some stuff. I will absolutely get back to you and talk to you. I've been meaning to. It's the same thing. I read your email where you said basically the same thing to me. It's just the price of being busy, I guess. But yeah, man, let's get into it. Let's do some work together. I'd really appreciate that. I love the idea of data collection. Samantha and I have been talking about. I am just so busy that it's been hard to get any data collection going whatsoever. So, yeah, you're thinking of them temps. It sounds to me like a temp thing because none of my kings are going to fruit right now. Until I get my air conditioning installed and I can really lower the temps, I'm not going to have any kind of king harvest. Hey, Rich, good to see you too, man. Do I have any advice on king trumpets? Ours either abort after a while or get super thick stem and small cap. Well, in my opinion, on a king trumpet, you want a super thick stem and a small cap. I don't know how long you're letting it go for. Usually the cap will flatten out. Maybe your CO2 is too high. If you're wanting a larger cap, typically fresh air is the answer to that one. As far as aborting, if they're turning brown and getting kind of slimy, or getting dingy looking, I have a water droplet on my mustache. If you're having that kind of issue, then the aborts are usually caused by blotch. It's usually a blotch problem, which is common in the summer for kings. So typically wintertime is what you want for your king oysters. And I don't know what part of the country you're located in, what your heat problems are, what your humidity is on your grow room. So that's me just taking a stab in the dark at it. But that's usually when it comes to king oysters not fruiting, it's either temperature or humidity. Waiting for the rest of PCR DNA extraction equipment to come in. Have you thought about getting into anything of that side of things? Yes, Billy, I have. I really want to get into some of it. Primarily, I just want to learn paternity of my mushrooms. So I want to be able to track what genes are being crossed between what parents, and how I want to kind of learn how, basically mushroom breeding works. Since I'm doing a lot of that thing, I really want to get into mushroom breeding and tracking of genes. Eventually, I'd like to get into genetic engineering on it too. But fungi are harder than bacteria to genetically engineer because their cell walls are stronger. Mortal Virus. Hey, man, hope you're doing well. Still waiting on the golden oyster farm I ordered. I'm so excited for it to show up. Oh, actually, I know that I saw a bunch of golden oyster bags being packed. So yours is probably going out soon. Dan Moore, love your stuff, bro. Best tip to keep the jars after inoculation while they colonize for cubes. Well, I always try to steer away from some of that talk in this group. I don't have a ton of experience with that. The moment I got a business license for a mushroom farm, I made sure to stay as far away from that stuff as possible. My guess is high temperatures, probably 70s to 80s, because I know that it's a tropical species. So probably not one anywhere near the refrigeration. But let's see. If you're talking about, also, are you talking about grain spawn or liquid culture? Because that might change things. I wish kings fruited in higher temps. Yeah, Anon, I agree. Me too. The black pearls fruit at a warmer temperature than the king oysters, so it's kind of, but they still don't like it too warm. Is the Maitake substrate the same as Shiitake, or can you use master's mix? Have you had success growing them? Well, Brian, I have been growing Maitake. I just recently started trials. If you guys get on my Instagram account, it's MycoMiner, MycoMiner. So my Instagram account, I was showing that I was doing some trials on Maitake. I have had fruit. It is tasty fruit. I grew it on the master's mix. My Shiitake is on a wheat bran mix. Let's see. What are your thoughts on rhizomorphic versus tomatose growth on plates? Quite a few people say they want rhizo, definitely easier to see sectoring, but I know it can go back and forth at any time. And of course, many say that they've had amazing strains from tomatose. Yeah, I've had tons of amazing strains from tomatose. I don't think that's kind of what species are you growing? Every strain grows differently. I've had some really light tomatose style. I realize that I'm probably butchering that word, but I've seen a lot of people. So many strains coming. It really just depends on its growth pattern. I know people say that rhizomorphic's better than tomatose. I don't think so. I think they are both useful, and they both have different ways of doing things. So I'm in Texas. We keep humidity above 85. Okay, so when I do humidity, I do wide swings. I do 60 to 65% on the low end, 85% on the high end. I like for things to dry out just a little bit. Kings are definitely susceptible to blotch. That means that they're very susceptible to your humidity level. If you're getting quite a bit of blotch, it's usually due to your humidifier either being dirty or being too humid. Having that dry out period actually helps you with fruit flies too. Fungus gnats. Any problem in spawning to just pure sterilized sawdust? With what media? Like you can use agar, you can use grain, you can use sawdust to sawdust. My experience, liquid culture to sawdust does not work out well. Usually stalls out. William Green, hey brother, love you much. I got a 10 by 10 with an 8-foot high with a 10 by 10 with 8-foot high ceilings. Would a window unit be sufficient for growing during? I'm located in Charleston. You talking about a window unit air conditioner? I would think so. I used a window unit in my basement. Now I did have the household AC as well, but I did have a window unit for an 11 by 19 by 9-foot tall ceilings. And that was enough to buffer. I did have to change strains during the seasons. And right now I've got no air conditioning going on and it's hot, but I'm growing only hot strains right now. Hey bro, just a quickie. Should I have my circulation fan running 24/7? Regards from sunny Nova Scotia. That is an answer that I can't give you without a lot more information, but I will tell you mine runs 24/7. I prefer fresh air all the time. Awesome. I can't wait for it. I do have a question. Are you only edible or do you have some just for fun? I have some bitter oyster Panellus stypticus in a jar, waiting on it to inoculate. I play around with all kinds of stuff. No, not everything I have is just edibles. I don't do any materials research, but I do have some strains that I've got saved up for whenever I want to do some materials research. There is a strain of violet tooth polypore that I have that I really want to play with because it exudes a metabolite that's really purple in nature. So I also have some spalting cultures that I've been playing with and a bunch of medicinal stuff as well. I hear the pressure cooker going right now. Let's see. We would love you to come down this fall to participate in a function with some of the young farmers for Beaufort and Charleston, South Carolina. Well, thanks. I appreciate that. Send me the information. Dan Moore, I found that cubes started to show brown sweating at higher temps, but definitely seems to grow quicker when it's warmer. Thanks, Ryan. Brown sweats. Are you talking about like metabolites are coming out brown? And is it brown like a gooey black, or is it just metabolite? Is it contaminant? Is it there's a lot of things that can be. And you're very welcome. I just don't know much about the subject. I know plenty of people who grow those, and I've consulted on some of those farms. But I try to stay away from anything illicit myself. And I'm finding that running my AC to cool the grow room, it reduces my humidity. Is this normal? It is very normal. And whenever I have to run air conditioning heavy, my room is always drier, and I have a hard time buffering. That's why this year we're installing swamp coolers downstream of our air conditioners. It's really more to pre-treat the air than it is to actually do cooling, because swamp coolers don't work super well here. But because we're drying out the air so much with air conditioning, swamp coolers will pre-treat the air with some humidity. Best way to control trichoderma is through thorough cooking of your substrate. Don't be afraid to overcook your substrate. Everyone talks about you need to not caramelize your sugars. That is absolute BS, in my opinion. Caramelization of sugars might affect things in a laboratory setting, but in a production environment, side-by-side trials, I have not noticed a real difference. And there's a few people who keep talking about that they've seen it. Most of them are not mushroom growers. They are mushroom block providers, or they are spawn providers, or whatever. And I think a lot of it's a scare tactic to keep you away from it, because I talk to a lot of commercial growers, and I've consulted on a lot of farms, and many guys, some of my Canadian friends in particular, have done some trials with me, and we have found no difference between caramelized sugars and non-caramelized sugars. Grain to sawdust, are yields really that much lower than supplemented? If you're trying to just fruit, just regular sawdust, yes, your yields will be much lower. Can't get my hands on soybean hulls at the moment. You might be able to get your hands on alfalfa pellets. And alfalfa pellets can be used in lieu of soy pellets, but will need to be used at a much lower concentration. 16% supplementation with alfalfa is my understanding. I haven't done much with it, but I have Told that to a lot of people, and they've had a lot of good success with it. Mainly Western and Northern growers. Soy seems to be kind of a Southern thing. How did you decide to cut the squares into the bag for fruiting? Did you experiment with X's and other cuts? Yes, we tried 1.5 billion different cuts. We are still trialing cuts. And the square is what performed the easiest harvest, the largest yield for first and second yields. Now, the third, fourth, it affects your third, fourth, fifth, sixth yields, but we don't fruit more than twice. We want everything in as few fruitings as possible. And that way we get our money up front. And then we throw out the rest, and whoever puts it in their garden, they get, they get the rest of the fruits. But we try to get as much as we can. So, some strains produce a brown material in LC after time and don't grow well until I transfer to a fresh jar. Do you find LCs fade over time to get weak if you chill them? Not if you chill them, but I have noticed that they will get, particularly if you're not stirring. I stir all of my cultures 5 minutes every day. I mean, I say every day that I'm working. Sometimes I'll skip a day and they'll get a thin skin on top, but you need to just keep those things chopped up. Yeah, absolutely, Adam. I'll get back to you, man. I hope I'm seeing you before you head out. But yeah, I'll get back to you on the trialing and the data analysis, man. Let's get it going. Roan, what's up, man? Did I hear spalting cultures? Super interested. I do have spalting cultures. I don't list them. I didn't know anybody else would be interested in trying to do spalt. Though I will say, somebody sent me this thing that they turned on a lathe, and it's pretty cool because it has some spalt in different sections. And so I thought that was interesting that they sent me a spalted wood mushroom, spalted with a fungus, right? So that's kind of cool. But yeah, if people are interested, I'll put my spalted cultures up. I'm about to put my Fat Man Black Poplar on the website because that thing is a beast. It gets these, if you look at my Instagram, it's at MycoMiner, they're on Instagram. It gets these big caps that look like, everybody says they look like pancakes, and they do look like perfectly cooked brown pancakes. And the stems on my Fat Man Black Poplar, they're like that big around. It's not the sword belt that's got the tiny little long, thin stems. It is a big, fat stem, and it is so much like a king oyster, except it has the flavor of a black poplar, that heavy, beefy kind of taste. Oh, it is so good. So let's be going out there for sure on the website. But if people are interested in spalting cultures, yeah, I haven't posted any of my results. I've kind of been working on spalting. I've got some things that I like playing with, so we'll see if I don't know if I'll share much of my techniques with them yet because I haven't developed good SOPs. But I'll definitely share the cultures. Hey, thanks, Zebra Fetish. Started reading that name out loud before I actually read it. But yeah, you're very welcome, man. Thank you. Thank you, Arthur. You're welcome. What's up, Heathen? Blessings to you, too. I am doing well. Yeah, mugs are heading out this week. I've had a slew of orders on them, man. It's crazy. Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. I'm stretched thin, man. I gotta be honest. Business is good. Business is good, but business is really good. So it's a little too good with the manpower that I have right now. So I'm tired. I want a day off. I've not had a day off in weeks. Micah, are you doing lion's mane right now? If so, how can I get a hold of you to buy some blocks? I make lion's mane on request for people who purchase it. My main hericium is cone tooth, sometimes bear's head, but I do have a lion's mane culture that is a fantastic culture. And I actually have a few cultures that I was trialing and found one I really liked. I do sell it in my medicinal bulk pack. But if you want blocks and you're wanting to get blocks regularly, contact me. We'll get you up. I only do fruiting block orders, local pickup here at the warehouse. And I only do, thanks for the super chat, country boy. Appreciate that. But I do have blocks, but you have to go through me. We go through PayPal. So you guys I have buyer protections. You guys have I have seller protections. So you guys have buyer protections. Yeah, I mean, I only do blocks that way, but absolutely contact me directly and we'll sell you some blocks, some fruit and blocks of lion's mane. Mortal Virus says, that sounds awesome. I would love to see that in a video. I was interested in the bitter oyster because they glow in the dark, and that blew me away. Yeah, they're pretty cool. Most of the bitter oysters will even glow in the dish, but you got to be in a dark room, let your eyes adjust to the glow. But yeah, that'll absolutely work. Still liking that mother of pearl oyster. Heard you going on about last time. Man, I love it. It is my favorite. I don't know what the max temp is. It's fruiting right now, and my grow room is air conditioned. And we've been having 80-degree days regularly. So, yes, that thing is a monster oyster. That is by far my favorite strain I've ever created. You know what? It's not even my favorite strain I've ever created. It's just my favorite strain hands down so far. The stem is edible. The mushroom is edible. It's a heavy yielder. It's a fast grower. Shelf life is long in the refrigerator. My chefs seem to like it. Yes, that is absolutely my go-to mushroom. If using rice hull mixed with sawdust, are it possible? Yes, I would say it's feasible or possible. In Java, I don't know where Java's at, but I'm assuming Asia. If you guys are using rice. But yeah, I mean, rice. I've heard of people using rice hulls. I don't know if it's the same thing. Like, I don't know if you can do 50-50 mix. You might have to play with supplementation levels to get it right. Like, if the block grows in well but doesn't fruit, that is often either a temperature problem or you have too much supplementation in, because the mushroom won't ever leave because it's got plenty of food. So I hope that helps. I second the spalt. All right. Well, thank you. You're very welcome. With lion's mane, how can you tell when it's ready to pull? Like the harvest? Are we talking harvest? Oh, thanks, Heathen. I appreciate that. I have no idea how much money that is in real money. in U.S. money. But no worries, man. I really appreciate that, dude. That's killer. Thanks, guys. You guys always surprise me with the amount of super chats I get on such a small channel. Let's see. If you're talking harvest, you want to get it before it starts to brown on the top. You want to get it when the teeth start to really tooth out. But early is usually good. You get better texture early, I think. You got to hop off here. Maybe towards. Oh shoot, Brian, are you still on? I'm sorry, man. I'll run out there right now if you're still here. If you're still here and you want the tour right now, let me know, and I'll do it quick. I am going to do it though. Hey Andrew, any love yet on that lost Canadian order? The Dave Ellis, yeah, man, it went out Friday. I don't know, man. I will say my Canadian orders have been spending a couple of days at the border, so I don't know anything about that. But Dave, I know your order did go out. My wife handled it herself, so your order was dropped off at the post office by loving Valkyrie hands. So. Have a great day, everyone. Hey, man, country boy, have a good day. What agar do you have the best results on for lion's mane? I just use malt extract agar. My master's mix malt extract agar. Probably some soon. Yeah, so I gotta say, man, I would say, sorry for making you spend money, but you won't be sorry with that culture. Like the King Oyster, the King Blue, has been my favorite strain for years, and that was like the first strain I ever created. And this mother of pearl kicks its booty. Now, it doesn't kick its booty as in it will ever replace. I don't think it'll ever replace. Hey, Edward, thank you for following me. And it'll never replace the King Blue because I don't think you can ever replace the King Blue fully. That mushroom is just too good and too unique. But in regular production, that thing, like the mother of pearl, is a standard setter. And I think it will be as it hits the wider market. In fact, I thought about approaching some of the larger companies about it. I don't know if they'll go with me, though, because, it's such it's produced by a small guy. And it's already out in the market. Excuse me. Hey, I'm new at this. How do you get a second flush? I read soak in water for 2 hours and leave a dark place for a week. I can't imagine large operations doing that. No, I just pull the mushroom off the first flush, set it in the box, walk away, and eventually it fruits the second flush. Real money, yeah. Yeah, I can be kind of a jerk sometimes, right? Hey, Brian, okay, let's do it, man. All right, everybody, we're going to go on a quick tour. So I'm not going to be answering any questions, but yeah, let's just go. So right now you're in my impromptu office. This is not really much of anything yet, but it will be. That'll be the studio primarily and the lab. This will be the lab. I mean, that is the studio in my office. This will be the laboratory, my culture laboratory. This will be where all liquid culture, grain spawn will be added to the website, and that is where that's going to be. That is our network hub. So we get loud for a second, and we'll try to speak up. You guys don't need to see that. That's the bathroom. I saw that, did you, Joe? I noticed that whenever I tried to pull away quickly. This right now is the temporary lab, but that will be reception. That's our main front door. This will be reception, very close to the main door. I don't want people kind of tracking in and out, which is where people will check in for block orders. Production lab is in here for now. This will be all offices for the people that I've got, like my media team. And yes, I have a media team. It's only 2 people. And it's really just one person handles the website, one person handles my SEO stuff. Yes, yeah, Grisel. That one is. We'll talk. Okay, you know what? I'm not going to be fancy about it. Yeah, it's Mossberg. So this, let's see, which side do we go to first? Let me turn off this fan. Loud for a second, so just give me a moment. Woo! And the lighting's going to be terrible on this laptop computer. If I can block some of that, well, that up there is the mezzanine. The mezzanine is just above the offices. We are eventually going to do something with it, but haven't done anything yet. Primarily probably going to be quarters. It's going to be insulated, air-conditioned for people that are coming to do our mentorship programs and our classes. We're going to give everybody a place to crash. They'll be able to bring a sleeping bag. There'll be cots waiting on them. Small bathroom and kitchen and stuff. I can't even begin to see the computer screen here, so maybe you guys can see all this. The steamer set up behind me that will eventually change, but it's just our old steamer for now. You can see the field out back. That back there is Mossy Creek. Oh my gosh, I can't even begin. You know what? It's way better. This is our back loading dock. And like I said, guys, I can't see if anybody's asking stuff or anything. Can't answer questions right now. Boiler. This. Oh, you guys are going to want to know about that. That's our bagger. So that's bagging station. We have our sawdust or soy, which I have to order more soy for tomorrow to be delivered. Wheat bran for shiitake blocks. I have been working on a grain spawn video about how I do grain spawn because it's super easy now. And we're going to be adding that back to the website soon. Where I'm standing will be production lab. So what we'll have is bagging area. We're going to bag to palletized steamers, which I'm so excited about that video coming up. Palletized steamers will get rolled out, which I have to get the dock repaired before I can roll my pallet jack out. So we'll go straight out from the bagging area, lower the steam jacket, steam the crap out of that pallet of substrate. It'll cool, come right here, to which this will be our production laboratory. So we're going to have 2 labs. I already have 2 filters with the second filter's made up and sitting in what's going to be the culture lab. And that way I can get culture and spawn away from where blocks are being made. It means I can work while my employees are working, but it also means that I'll have a much cleaner space, much better control over my space. That's just our temporary duck brooder. This is going to be experimental. The experimental section is from that pillar, all the way to that corner. That's all going to be experimental. That's going to be where Ben builds a new device of some sort. We will be able to test it out fully there without changing any of our current infrastructure. This space behind me That's going to be a grow room. We have a grow room right here. This is, and I love this network too, because this network hits my whole warehouse. So you can see we got to replace those blocks, but we're already in full production here. Mainly specialties right now, because that's what I packed during the COVID outbreak. But oysters are starting to come in. We just packed that wall. This wall gets packed tomorrow. This will be a third grow room. And then we'll have a fourth grow room. But that is the great sea of bags, because we haven't built out our incubation shelving yet. Also going to be palletized. So grow room 3, grow room 4. And I'm going to tell you guys, I'm thinking about 2 things here. We had slated this for 4 grow rooms. And I'm kind of rethinking some of that right now, where what we'll have is, instead of 4 grow rooms, because my internet business has taken off so well, thanks to you guys. Thank you so much. Hashtag blessed. But I'm thinking about making one of these a picking bay, and then buying supplies by the pallet. So we'd buy syringes and scalpels and petri dishes and all the things that I use daily in my operation. I would be supplying that to you guys. Primarily is just a way to sell more liquid culture. But let's see. Sorry, I saw the chat, and like I said, I'm going to try to do the tour without the chat. But I'm thinking about making one of those a picking bay. And then the third thing is I'm thinking about doing one as an aquaponics room, primarily just for my own sustenance. But I might just do 3 grow rooms, because we're estimating with 4 grow rooms, we're going to be able to do 3,000 pounds a week easily. And that's pretty tempting. So here, starting at that line, this is all Ben's shop. So I won't get too much into that. He's got his CNC back there. He's just been working on a lot of stuff. That's my new lab table he's working on. There's some temporary shelving. Ben has 2 loading docks, and I have 2 loading docks. This area right here that we're standing in is going to be all the way down to that corner that I told you about. It's experimental. That is going to be it's going to be palletized shelving for incubation. So we'll have our palletized incubation. This will all be covered and air conditioned. So hello, guys. It's really weird running a factory farm. Can you factory farm mushrooms and still be okay? But with children. This is my second dock. It's just the front one. And we have that overhang there, which has been fantastic. Being able to work on vehicles in undercover. Oh, it's the greatest thing ever. So we have those 2 docks down there. We have this dock right here. Check out that view. That right there, which you guys may or may not be able to see. It's Glenmore Mansion. And then we have this whole loading dock here all the way to that white line. And then that's our neighbors back there. So like I said, guys, I'm not looking at the chat right now, so I can't see what's going on. So I apologize if there's like questions just going by. I'll get back to them, and I'll scroll back up and roll to them. Other than that, guys, that's our temporary break table. So other than that, guys, that's the tour. It's really not. I mean, it's a huge space. It's so much space, and I love that it's the old farmers co-op for our town. So it's a bit of history. It was built in 1958. So my grandfather shopped here. My father shopped here. My great-grandfather did not shop here because he died before then. Well, one of my great-grandfathers may have shopped here. But we'll plug you guys back in. It is a phenomenal space, and it is right on Mossy Creek, so it makes things a lot easier for us. Daniel Andromedus, what's up, bud? All right. Let's see. Brian, I hope you got to see it. If not, hopefully you can come on here later and see it. Let's see where we're at. Okay, back up to where I was. Yeah, you online. Thanks, Javo. William Green, if too much liquid culture is added to a petri dish, will it cause it to go bad? Not necessarily. Not normally. Depends on how sterile everything is. But if you have one bacterium in that liquid culture or on that petri dish, and you've got a lot of liquid running around, it will spread easier. But if you watched my latest video that I did, that I showed, I mean, like I've got a lot of liquid culture usually doesn't contaminate on a petri dish, but having a lot of condensation, a lot of water rolling around that can cause some stuff to spread easier, but it will not cause contamination, if that makes sense. You're very welcome, Fun Squid. Can you explain? Man, I don't know. I stepped outside. I guess my allergies kicked up. Can you explain how you decided to use the atmospheric steam trough sterilizer, which takes over 10 hours, versus a larger pressure autoclave? Other deciding factors besides the huge cost difference? There were no other deciding factors between the cost difference. If I could get an autoclave, I would. But I started this off when I had less than no money. And I literally bought a kit from Paul Stamets and then fruited mushrooms off of it, broke it up and put it into straw, and about half of them contaminated. But I just kept working at it bit by bit. And every time I'd get mushrooms, I'd sell them, or we'd use them to supplement our own food supply, saving money. And then eventually, whenever I had a really bad allergic reaction at the job I was working, Samantha asked me to stay home with the kids. And that's when I decided to start an at-home business working with mushrooms, and Samantha subsidized it. And it actually ended up being cheaper. We actually made more money with Samantha working than both of us working, because childcare on two people took up one person's income every week. And then when we had a third kid, it was like, I think I was making $1 an hour when I was working, and then when we had a third kid, it was like, no, we were gonna be losing money. So it was better just to stay home and be cheaper. And I raised ducks and chickens and geese, and we ate tons of those. We raised rabbits, we ate those. I raised mushrooms, we ate those, tomatoes, peppers. I just worked in the garden constantly, and made as much food as I could for us. And then that started into a love of mushrooms, which eventually still wanted to do a business doing it, which then led me into learning about business, and that being a subsistence farmer actually kind of sucks. So going into that, I just hadn't had money for an autoclave. So I have pressure cookers, and I have no real experience with large autoclaves, but I do plan to get one eventually. But really, for production blocks, atmospheric steam is good enough. It really is good enough. And the value extraction of a steaming cycle, it costs me like $6 every time I run the trough. $6, and I make thousands off of a trough run. So I'll spend $6 to run an atmospheric steam sterilizer to make thousands of dollars. I created a dish for Lion's Mane when my LC came in the mail, and that dish fruited. Kind of funny. Dude, Lion's Mane fruits on a dish so fast. To give you guys an example, oysters take 2 to 3 weeks to grow in before I'll put them in the grow room. Lion's Mane, comb tooth, bear's head, we inoculate it. We wait 7 days. We put it in the grow room because it fruits so fast. Love the shotgun in the background. Yeah. Like I said, I tried to avoid it. I was sitting there showing you my office, and I was like, oh shit, that's the shotgun. But I didn't realize that it's sitting here the whole time I'm talking. So you guys now know about that. Thanks. Thanks, Byron. Yeah, Yggdrasil, like I said, it is a Mossberg. I'm actually, after having owned Mossberg and Remington, I think I prefer Remington's shotguns, particularly the security style shotguns. But Mossbergs are cheaper, and if you're going to have it in a place that's going to be stolen, better to have the cheaper gun, right? And Mossbergs are great. Mossbergs are so great. Thanks, Byron. I really appreciate that. I love it, man. It's it really is a great place. I have 4 different hygrometers and they all read differently. Can you recommend an accurate hydrometer? I use the one from House of Hydro, and it's not probably the most accurate. I don't work on accurate. I just work on averages. I'm looking on your website. I see that the King Oyster Mini Farm is $20 and shipping is $41.65, total $61.65. What would you say is the market value of harvest? Not that much. Kits are mini farms, which are basically kits, are for people who want to play around growing. You are not getting your money's worth unless you're buying the kit locally. I mean, off a King Oyster Mini Farm, you're probably talking 3 pounds if it's doing really well. Like if it's doing as well as my King's Grow, it'd be 3 pounds. At $10 a pound to a restaurant, you're talking $30. At $20 a pound market value straight to the consumer, you're talking, about $60. So a kit is more about the experience. It's for people who want to just grow mushrooms. They're not really looking to get value extraction. If you're looking to get value extraction, go liquid culture and make your own spawn, make your own kits, that kind of thing. Or buy fruiting blocks. You can buy fruiting blocks off me in bulk, but I only do local pickup right now. I do need to I've got the docks now, so I am thinking about producing blocks and selling them and shipping them. But as of right now, we only sell them for local pickup. So, Joe, is that holy balls about how many blocks we've got? What's up, Daniel? Like I said, thank you. Yeah, I don't even know how many blocks that is right now because we've been producing 410 12-pound blocks a week for the past few weeks. I'd have to go look at all the logs to see and then run the numbers to find out how many blocks it is, but it is a sea of bags. At Mark, the one from House of Hydro seems to work pretty solid. Yep. See, that's the same hydrometer I use. Aquaponics is amazing. I agree, Alex. Particularly, I don't understand why people always pair terrestrial vegetables with the fish aquaculture. I will tell you that I've had a really good experience growing watercress, water spinach, taro, and water chestnuts all in an aquaponics system. They grow way better in the water than like tomatoes and peppers do. You get tons of good greens that way. You get the corms from the water chestnuts. It's such a fantastic way of growing. So definitely better than the one I was using before that. Oh, for the hydrometer. Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Javo. Appreciate that. Oh, how much does the cost of pasteurization add to each bag? Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I skipped some stuff. Dune, what's up, man? How you doing? Thank you, Mac. I appreciate it. It is an amazing place. Now I'm down to John Doe. How much does the cost of pasteurization add to each bag? I think it's 6 cents per bag, roughly. It's a little less than 6 cents per bag, actually, because we do 120, 150, and 170 bag batches. At the highest cost, it was 6 cents per bag. So say 6 to 10 cents a bag, just to be safe. Java says, nice work, bro. Thank you very much, Java. Appreciate that. Hi, everybody. Peace. What's up, Ebram? Welcome back, man. It's always good to see you on. Very nice mushroom farm. I like it. Thank you, Abu. I appreciate that a lot. When oyster blocks have finished colonizing, I fold and tape top of bag, then cut a square. Problem is blocks pin 50% somewhere else than the hole, and I have to cut second hole. How do you prevent this? Fun Squid, I do not prevent it. I let them fruit. When they figure out where the hole is, those pins just eventually either go bad or they slurp back up into the bag. They'll get squishy as it redirects the nutrients from that flush to another flush, and you're golden. So I always do as little work as possible. If something does not thrive on neglect, I do not work with it. In my effing socialist country, half the things in your videos are not sold. I don't know where you're at, Javo. Sorry, man. Yeah, I love freedom. That's for sure. God bless Tennessee. God's blessed Tennessee. The pattern bless Tennessee. I don't really know. Joe Glow, are you looking for extra help? I'll send you a resume. Remember the day off you mentioned earlier? Joe, I actually am hiring right now. So if you want to, yeah, send me your resume. I'm absolutely looking to hire. I am not looking to hire highly skilled labor. So I'm not looking to pay like $20 an hour or anything like that. But I do pay based on whether you want to do part-time or full-time. So if you're wanting to do full-time, Ben and I are looking to hire someone full-time. Means about half the time you'd be running CNC equipment, and the other half of the time you'd be cleaning a grow room, picking, keeping things together, and helping the production crew with all the production. And basically freeing up Laura so Laura can start working in the culture lab with me, and then Jason can start managing the production lab. So yeah, send me that resume. What's your premix solution percentage for liquid culture? Oh man. Okay, I usually have this one on top of my head, but my premix that I make is I've got it on Google Drive. I can't see you guys, but let me look it up on my drive. I know I have my liquid culture. And it's not loading. I have my liquid culture formula on here, recipe. Here in a moment, guys, I'm going to have to run over and grab the, make sure the pressure cooker is not going too hard or heavy. Oh my gosh, it is just not loading the recipe. It will not load it. I'll get back to you, Mac. Fun squid. Oh my God, so frustrating when that happens. Checkmate. Yeah, guys, the truth is, it all comes down to neglect. When expecting to hear $6, that's great. Yeah, John, it's well, now you got to remember, I have some of the cheapest electric in the country. Tennessee, particularly East Tennessee, has some of the cheapest electric in the country. Those numbers were run, by the way, for the price per kilowatt for Tennessee, not the TVA-ridden East Tennessee, which is probably even cheaper than Tennessee in general. But Tennessee's got one of the lowest cost of living in the world, or in the country. In the country. Yeah, Rocco, you're very welcome. Joe Glow says, yup. My lion's mane strain, not from you, takes weeks to colonize a petri dish. Bad strain? No, not necessarily. So lion's mane is really tricky. You have, yes, it will oftentimes take long time to colonize a dish if it's allowed to fruit. And that, like, keeping it in the dark helps, keeping it cool helps. Trying to prevent it from fruiting will speed up the colonization. Okay. Liquid culture. Oh, it was the wrong folder too. So we got to do all that loading all over again. Okay. I know that for my liquid culture, I do 20 grams of my premix to 500 milliliters of solution. Those 20 grams of premix is something like 5 parts potato dextrose to 1 part malt extract. But I can't remember the exact grams to gram ratio, and my Google Drive just will not load on this Chromebook while I'm doing a live stream. So sorry, guys. In fact, I probably ought to close out of all my other tabs. Just be careful. Okay. All right. What is the best mushroom for a starter to try and grow? Well, I think pretty much any oyster mushroom strain is going to be good. Elmsy is probably one of the easiest to grow. King Blue is another one that's really easy. So far, the Mother of Pearl is probably the easiest one I've gotten. So that to fruit. So those are 3 good oyster strains. But then I had a dish that blew up, that squid. So I don't know. Yeah, it's like I said, man, it's going to depend on lighting. It's going to depend on temperature. It's also going to depend on where you took it from the previous dish. If it's allowed to mature in the previous dish and then you transfer it, it will grow a little and then fruit. And in my opinion, it's better to allow it to grow a little, and while it's fruiting, take that leading edge of the growth, transfer it over. Oh, I got a super chat, guys. Let me prioritize it. Oh gosh, oh my goodness. What's up, Michael Mama? Thank you very much. I appreciate that. That's a very generous super chat. When cutting into your fruiting blocks, I see a large opening. Is the size of the opening relative to the size of the block? Yes and no. So basically what it works out to is you have an expected yield per pound of substrate. So if I do a 12-pound block and my expected yield on that strain is about 2.5 pounds, let's do it this way. Let's say that I have a certain amount of substrate and I'm expecting 1 pound off of that substrate. If I do one hole, I should get about a 1 pound mushroom or cluster. If I do 4 holes, I should be expecting about 4 quarter-pound clusters or mushrooms. So the size of the hole doesn't really matter that much because, in my experience, the plastic, if I cut a small square, and this is something we always have problems with the square, so I am working on a tool that will limit the size, but the hole should only be about an inch by an inch. I keep seeing people drifting and producing bigger and bigger holes. So I'm going to create a tool that I'll probably sell. It'll just be a fruiting hole tool, which will do about an inch by inch square, just like a little press, or a little not press. What do they call it for like leather working and stuff? I can't remember. But a little tool just to do that with. The mushrooms will grow out and they'll stretch that plastic out. So I've had good luck with tomatoes and peppers in a media bed. So I did too. But I felt like they did much better in the ground, tomatoes and peppers. However, right now on the front porch of the shop, I've got a big foam board where I've set up pots will fit into it and stuff. I am about to do in that pond out back in Mossy Creek. I'm going to do a big water garden. And I've always loved the idea of farming by kayak. So change the aquaponics to an ebb and flow system on tomatoes and peppers. Yeah, Rich, that's what I've heard is that ebb and flow works a lot better. I'm going to try to get some. I've got way more tomatoes than I'm ever going to get in the ground, guys. I don't know what I was thinking. Hi, Andrew, or hi, friend. Love your work. Any tip or tricks in setting up and dialing in a fruiting room? Yeah, I'll just go watch my overview of the fruiting room video and then kind of work on that. I don't have any like tips or tricks that other than you want a wide swing in your humidity. Go from 65 on the low end, let it kick on until it's at 85. It'll cut off and go back down to 65. Good lighting, keep your grow room clean. Good large amounts of fresh air. Dune says, Andrew, nice to see you doing so well. Really liked your latest video about the syringes. Well done. Many uses there. Yeah, man. I'm even thinking, that would be useful for, by the way, thank you. I should say thank you first. Samantha always gets on to me about that. Yes, absolutely. We are doing really well. A little too well. It feels like drowning in success right now. You guys are pummeling me with orders, which do not stop. I love it. It's allowing me to hire in another person who will then help me fulfill orders much faster. There are supply chain issues right now. Like right now I'm waiting. I've gotten a whole bunch of liquid culture lids out. Never thought those would sell that well. Holy crap. But even then, getting supplies in has been difficult because, my self-healing injector ports arrived earlier than expected. And then my syringe filters, which normally come in 2 days, I just got, it took a week for them to ship before they even shipped. So I've got to order them all over again and try to keep going them. So yeah, thank you. I do appreciate it. And it is nice to be doing so well, especially since like, it's one of those things, man, you don't ever complain about the being essential or anything like that. Ben said that at his work, he's got a lot of people that are complaining about being essential. And he's like, look, guys, yeah, you're not sitting at home making that extra $600 a week at work or not working, but you've got a job. And you've got that stability, and you should be thankful that you've got that because it's going to set you up much better in the long run than sitting at home collecting extra money would. So I'm not going to complain about my success. It is very nice. What I was going to say about the syringes, I got started and I got completely sidetracked. That syringe, I'm thinking, man, that would be so useful for the brewing industry too, right? Just biopsying yeast cultures, injecting them right into a liquid media. So I think I'm going to start playing around with novel yeast strains, like start swabbing oyster mushrooms and stuff and trying to get these novel yeast strains going. You're very welcome, Joe Glow. Thank you. Yes, Radical. I am offering mentorships. I don't have any internships. You can come work for me. You can pay to come learn from me. You can buy blocks. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff. But I do have mentorships lined up. It is $1,000 for the week. I'm about half the cost of the other guys, primarily because you'll have to set yourself up in a hotel. I don't have any housing developed like other people do. So, I mean, I guess I don't mind somebody that's staying here crashing in the warehouse, but it wouldn't be super comfortable, because there's not a lot of air conditioned space yet. I mean, yes, you can tell I'm tired. Look at that. I got them chote eyes going on. Chote eyes. That's what my dad calls them. His mother's maiden name was Chote, and they always have these bags under their eyes. And I get them a lot when I'm tired. Do spores ever get in your beard? I'm sure they do. I get fungus beetles in my beard all the time. Oh my gosh. One time I was sitting there talking to somebody and I saw something climb out and I was like horrified. I'm obsessively cleaning my beard all the time. And I was talking to someone and I saw their face like as a beetle just flew out like some kind of weird mushroom wizard. What's up, Michael Mama? Hello, lovely. Miss you too. Good to see you on here. Greetings from the Northeast, Pennsylvania. Hey, man, you're up there in mushroom country. Hey, Nathan. I saw your name on some orders as I was pulling syringes. I think we just shipped your stuff. Super happy to have finally made one of these live. Heck yeah, man. Do you have any tips for pouring clean agar dishes? I seem to always end up with undissolved flakes. Go watch my the first video in my agar series. I talk about how I cook up my agar and stuff like that. I've never had a problem with undissolved flakes, so should be getting they should just dissolve or pressure cooking them. I don't know what to do. I don't know what's causing your flake issue. But yeah, if you go watch my agar video, there's a lot of stuff on there for that. Just ordered Cool Touch of Mother of Pearl. Pretty. Oh, well, thank you very much for ordering those. And I do not think that you're going to be disappointed at all on that Mother of Pearl. The Cool Touch does not have the same yield that a blue oyster does. It's got a good yield. It's a great yield, but it is not going to be as heavy as the Mother of Pearl. But man, when you pick it young, that's why it doesn't have the same yield. When you pick it young and it's got that bright blue band around the edge, oh, it is so beautiful. You see people's eyes just light up as they've got a white oyster with a bright electric blue band going across it. So let's see. Thoughts on using antimicrobial like agar, tips for getting clean cultures from contaminated sources. So technique always beats chemicals. I don't use antibiotics. I don't like antibiotics in my agar. I feel like they hide underlying issues. It is much better to work on your technique, get clean, like work through. I know it's disappointing. I know that it's heartbreaking to do work and only have it just to have contaminants grow. But I promise you it pays off in the end to not use antibiotics in your agar. Only use antibiotics for very specific purposes, like trying to clean up a culture, for example. But in my experience, technique is much better at cleaning up cultures even than antibiotics. So no, I hate antibiotic agar. I think it's a crutch. Tips for getting clean cultures from contaminated sources. That's going to depend on your source. If you're talking dishes, you want to work in a still in area as possible, slow movements to not stir up air, controlling breath. And I always wear a mask if I'm working near mold. I don't typically wear a mask when I'm just doing normal culture work because, number one, I've got the HEPA filter flowing going on, but I do not work in front of the HEPA filter when I'm working with mold because it just stirs up mold spores all behind me. And I usually, when I'm working with just regular agar, I'm controlling my breath. I'm not talking. I'm always breathing down. When I have the dish open and I'm doing the quick transfer, I often hold my breath for just a moment, like just skip a breath and then just go back into the rhythm. I don't know. It's doing lab work's almost meditative to me. Meditative sounds better. At least in my opinion. Mac McCullis. Oh, that helps. Thank you. Go Mushroom Family. Heck yeah, man. Glad I could help. Stamp. Leather punch. Punch was the word. Thank you. Yes, I'm looking to make a punch tool. So thank you. I always watching your YouTube channel and need more lessons for watching. Hey man, that's when that's when you're doing well, right? When you're leaving people with more questions than answers. Because if you're leaving people with more answers than questions, then you're just blowing smoke. The way I think about it, anyways. Are the bags you use micro perforated? They are not. Thank you. Arrow broadhead works great for cutting openings. We've been thinking about that, like a board with some arrow, like broadhead arrows. I was thinking about that. Thanks, Little Shot. I appreciate that. I'm painting my mason jar lids to prevent rust. Does this sound like a good idea from a business perspective? I don't know if you saw my video on how I make my liquid culture lids, but I don't think so. I've been using RTV silicone to get my syringes into the lid at the cost that they are now. Let's say we go into a Great Depression from all of this stuff, then sure, I'll probably be making a less disposable lid. But as it is, no, from a business perspective, it's much easier just to make a new lid and use that for 40 syringes worth of liquid culture than it is to sit there and tediously, make every lid last as long as possible. In my opinion, I could be wrong. And everybody, there's tons of different ways of every business. There's as many different businesses as there are businessmen. So it wouldn't work in my business because I'm too lazy. Camping, not a problem. PV, way cheaper. It's the whole face. Way cheaper than others. Yeah, I try to be fair. If you're going to be here, $1,000 is it's a lot of money for people to especially take a gamble on somebody is the way I feel about it. And if you're gambling on me, I want to provide you the best thing I can. The best way to learn is to have you working with my employees. So you're providing me a little bit of labor. Granted, it's not skilled labor, not yet. That's why you're coming. But I do try to be fair in my pricing. And since I don't have housing, I will, I'll provide you lunch and stuff while you're here. But I'm about half the cost because I don't have the housing. And then I want to make sure that you walk away feeling like it was money well spent and that you got to get in here every day and work your butt off next to my employees, next to me. So it's like every other day you have 3 days a week that you're working production alongside the employees and then, asking questions, getting the full gamut on that. And then 2 days a week, you're working directly with me or Samantha, depending on what you're trying to do. We try to tailor each mentorship, based on what you're wanting to learn. If you're wanting to learn the liquid culture side of things, you will be working a lot more with me. If you're wanting to learn more production work, you'll be working a lot with Jason and Laura doing the grow room work. If fresh mushrooms is your thing, you'll still be learning the liquid culture. You'll still be learning how to make spawn. But if you're wanting, I don't know. I hope that helps. That's the. So yeah, if you guys want mentorships, I'm not selling those off the website. They are coming directly to me. You have to call or write me an email, and I can send a PayPal invoice. Hey, how many milliliters are your Erlenmeyer flasks that you use for agar production? They're 1,000 milliliter agar flask, and I'll fill them up to 500 milliliters. That way, there's a little bit of boil off space, a little head space. Business tip: work with pars. Whenever you drop below a par level, an order should be created. Supply should never be a constraint for delivery. Filter par equals 1,000. All restraints, many others do it. Periodic automatic. Yes, I actually have that. But things being what they are, we did not have enough lead time, and my order volume spiked right at the same time that my suppliers tanked. So shroom supply is still going strong. I'm actually about to order some, even though they're more expensive than my other supplier, about to order a bunch of syringe filters from him because he's so fast. I do have automatic replenishment set up. I'm not familiar with that term, but I'm familiar with the principle. What's up, Andrew? I just started production for my farm. Congratulations, Dylan. Couldn't have done it without your videos and live streams. Thanks for all the content. Well, you're very welcome, man. You could have done it without me. You could have. And maybe I saved you some time. I really hope I did. I really hope you found me useful. But, yeah, man, you could have done it without me. But thank you very much for the sentiment. I very much appreciate it. It's that eye candy. That's why I like it. Oh, that that cool touch. Yeah, man, that thing is such a pretty mushroom. Oh my goodness. I am going to be drilling deep on isolations for that one. I'm going to isolate. I'm going to try to boost that yield and keep that color and keep the usable stem. Got my reishi on 3.5 pounds off of 20 bags, jacking up 85 bags for the end. Nice. 3.5 pounds off each bag, off 20 bags. That's a good yield, man. 3.5 pounds is not bad. Fresh or dried? That's gotta be fresh. But yeah, man, I do reishi once a year, twice a year nowadays because it's been so popular. And I use the Boston Edison reishi because it's such a fast colonizing strain. So it's great, man, for sure. Hey, Andrew, thanks for all your help in cultures. I have 4 now. Hey, Robert, thank you for all the purchases, man. I appreciate you. I've noticed your name a couple of times. So if you had trike on a Petri plate, you would use a still air box instead of in front of the HEPA. I think you mentioned water agar to get past bacteria. So water agar works great against mold as well. Not as well as it does against bacteria, but yes, it will work for mold. Yes. If I have any kind of mold, I don't even use a still air box. I just do an open air transfer. Come in. Hello? I guess it was the Foundry ghost. When mushrooms grow with contamination and fruits are ready, aren't they still edible as long as there is not mold on the fruit body itself or bacterial infection? Andy, in my experience, that is the case, yes. Mortal virus. I wanted to ask, I made a rectangle box out of glass that I'll be using to grow in. It's large enough for 2 12-pound bags and includes fresh air and fog. Will this be good? So probably. Yeah, I mean, it should be fine. The smaller the volume, the harder it is to keep an equilibrium. But if you plan on that and you have your swings and everything else, yeah, it should be good. I know a lot of people use aquariums, which is basically what you're talking about, a glass box. Should work out great. Daniel Dow. Hey, man, do you grow any chicken of the woods? If not, would you be interested in agar culture of some? So I have grown chicken of the woods in the past. I would happily take a culture of it for sure. I'd be interested in a culture. I grew it on Master's Mix. It did well. It did not do well enough that I wanted to continue it, primarily because of longer colonization time. But now that I've got space, well, I will have space when I get shelving again. We'll do some of that. But right now with I'm getting my shiitake on, now that I have space to fruit and colonize, and I'll have to have my shelving worked out better and my fruiting room worked out better before I get serious in the chicken of the woods. But I'll try some for sure, man. I love chicken of the woods. It's a great mushroom. Thank you so much. Yeah, absolutely, Zebra, for sure. How do you use your LC in your production line? How many blocks per jar of LC? We use LC for making our grain spawn. We do not use liquid culture for making our production blocks. In my experience, every time we've used liquid culture in a production block, it grows a little bit and then stalls out. But we are working on it. Let's see. Thank you, Andrew. I'm grateful for the expert advice. Unfortunately, the wife call cannot be ignored. Peace. Hey, Fun Squid. I hope you're still here and got to hear it. But yeah, man, always answer the wife call. I get it. I do not ignore my wife's phone calls ever. And not because I'll get in trouble, but because I care about her safety. And if she's stuck on the side of the road, I want to know. So, man, I'm getting these blisters. You can tell I'm stressed and tired. I get these blisters in my hand. It's called dyshydrosis. It seems to be associated with my arthritis or my arthritic flare-ups. Get these flare-ups and my joints will get, stiff and everything. And it seems like every time I have a flare-up and then the flare-up goes away, I get these little blisters under the skin, and they'll get big and then they'll kind of pop. And I know that it's probably not the best conversation to have right now on the live stream, but screw it. These things, man, they kind of itch, and they're definitely in like an inflammatory thing. It's weird. Hate them. Ugh. Don't want to get rid of them either. Let's see. I'm very impressed with your reading every single question. Thank you, Rocco. mean, we're on here. It's not like I have 10,000 people on a live stream at a time, right? So I try to make sure that I can get this in here for you guys to be free. I do try to prioritize the super chats, though. Gotten slot from your streams. Gotten a lot, I assume. You're very welcome, man, and thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate that. And yeah, Rocco, I try to just make sure, like, I run this channel. I figure I'm very open source. Like, I love the open source movement. I respect the open source movement so much. So this is my contribution to the knowledge pool, and I'm hoping that you guys bring knowledge back to me, which you guys have a lot. The way I look at it is I make money off my products. I don't try to make money off the stream. We have a little bit of monetization, but the monetization I get off YouTube is nothing. So, but it's helpful, and I don't know. There for a long time, I actually was the kind of person that was trying to hold back information. I didn't want competition, but man, I've become such a better grower giving out information. I started on Facebook in the mushroom growing group, just giving people advice as much as possible. I found this to be a much more effective platform for communicating, because once I put a video out there, it continues to be seen over and over again. It doesn't get lost in like conversations on Facebook do. But on YouTube, I get a lot less of the same 10 questions asked over and over again, where I was helping people on Facebook. I was getting the same 10 questions over and over again. That said, we do have a Facebook group. It's the Mossback Mushroom Syndicate. Please request to join it. I will get to it in the next day or two if you request it. I am not on there as much as I should be. I'm not on there as much as I'd like to be, especially right now with how much I'm working. But there are a lot of people out there that I have taught, and they are out there answering questions and working with people and getting stuff going. So it's great. That said, Rocco, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I'm living in Central Java, Indonesia. I say hello. I want to be successful like you. Well, thank you. I hope you're successful in your own way, man. Yeah, it looks like a lizard tank for geckos. Oh yeah, I totally want to raise frogs. Not geckos so much, but I love frogs. Frogs are so cool. I always think of myself as a frog, right? I got these skinny little legs, these skinny little arms, and big old belly. I basically look like a frog. Roan says, you want to talk dyshydrosis? I'm covered. You get it too, Roan? Do you have anything that helps? I can't. The only way I figure it, man, like, it's every time I get like stressed, and it can be physical stress, emotional stress, financial stress, like any form of like just stress. If I change my diet really drastically, like if I go and eat potatoes stress my body out. I don't know what it is. My joints hurt after I eat potatoes. Not usually, like if I eat French fries one time, like maybe a half serving of French fries, but oh my gosh, man. If I eat potatoes, like baked potato with the skin on it, my hands will feel like just, and it will work so hard to get it out. I'll have to just stretch early in the morning, and yeah, I don't know, man. It's crazy. I'm leaving to go buy some of these Cool Touch. Thanks for all the info. Thanks, Alex. You don't have to leave, man. You can pull up another tab. But yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate that. John says, would you say hericiums are best on liquid culture since they can't start fruiting? Yes, they can start fruiting. They'll if you don't stir it, you have to stir it every day or every couple of days, because it will fruit on the top. It'll form a mat of mycelium and then fruit on the top. But yes, LC is way better for liquid culture. I only keep 1 or 2 dishes of my hericiums around now, and the rest of them are in long-term storage, which, by the way, guys, next video, or one of the next videos, is me showing how I'm going from long-term storage directly to LC now and using a needle just to stab into my culture slants. You take way less tissue from a culture slant. Your culture slants are good for so much longer now. It's incredible. YouTube Dr. John Bergman for joint issues. Okay. Dr. John Bergman. Cool. Got a tab up. I'll look him up. That sounds great. Thank you, Rocco. My grandfather had really bad arthritis. I think my mother's got some. I don't know. I could be wrong about that. I feel like I've heard that before. But my grandfather, I think when he was in his 30s is whenever his arthritis started really hitting him hard. And he had like light therapy, and then he had medication. Lupus runs on my father's side of the family. So I don't know. I've heard that arthritis can actually be a symptom of lupus. I don't know. I don't want to know. I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis in boot camp. And that's actually rheumatoid arthritis, asthma, and emphysema is what got me, which I don't really smoke or anything. So I'm not sure where the emphysema came from. But thankfully, I can usually stay unmedicated so long as I exercise, like lifting weights helps a lot. I have a hard time running with the asthma. Swimming is great. As long as I'm active and don't eat like potatoes, bread, whole grains, that kind of stuff. So, hey, baby, you want to come say hi? You don't have to. So hold on a second, guys.
The pressure cooker is hissing and it's in the red zone.
Take the dial and turn it all the way down.
Thanks.
Thank you. Why is that pressure cooker already up to temp, but this one right here is not? I can wake up to music. Thank you, YouTube. Or not YouTube. Spotify. Got a cold chill. All right, guys. I have 2.5 hours of cooking grain now. Let's see. Hey, guys, I'm going to pause the chat for just a second. I'll be right back. I promise. Here, that'll keep you company. I'm coming back. Hold on. Hold on. I'm back. All right. Dylan says, I'm starting with your blue oyster, black pearl, comb tooth, and chestnut. Oh, my goodness. Also wanted to grow golden enoki, but it seems to call us slowly in grain. No, golden enoki is pretty quick to me. I mean, it's in the middle. It'll be faster than chestnut. Chestnut's pretty slow, but I will say chestnut fruits in warmer temperatures better than golden enoki does. You know. Hey, Andrew, why do you turn your bag sideways? Oh, gosh. Oh, no. I lost the question. When you're fruiting, or have you done in the past, if no longer do, also have you grown Namiko? If so, do you call Chuck to initiate fruiting? Okay. Brack. Man, I like that name. Brack. How do you say that? Okay. So I turned them horizontally because whenever they were vertical, the mushroom clusters grew into each other and knocked each other off the blocks and into the floor. We actually designed our shelves to do vertically so we could fit as many blocks on a shelf as possible, but horizontal, it gave them enough room to actually fruit. Excuse me. Or I have done. Also, have you grown Namiko? Yes, I have grown Namiko, and I have not cold shocked it to initiate fruiting, but it seemed like it only grew in cold weather for me. I don't have a lot of experience with mini Theolotas. The Theolota I have the most experience with is chestnut mushrooms, and I don't like them. I'm not a big fan of Theolotas, so I like black poplar. I think that I'm going to switch to my Fat Man, which, by the way, we're going to do. So I grow 2 different types of black poplar right now that I've bred. One is a isolate from the sword belt. We're calling that Little Boy. And then we have Fat Man, which is the one with the big fat stem. And Samantha's working on a couple of cool logos for each of them, which, are different size nuclear bombs. So that's in honor of my great-grandfather and great-grandmother who worked on the Manhattan Project. Actually, they worked at the Y-12 facility, so, part of it. But Y12 facility, in part, the reason why they built the nuclear bombs where they did is because my great-grandfather was a master machinist, and that plant happened to have a master machinist on staff. In fact, we have a little aluminum bomb that he made way back when. So we have a little aluminum machined mock-up of an atomic bomb that he made for my grandfather when my grandfather was just a boy, because he kept asking about, what do you guys make up there? So anyways, just to be said, I don't like the Theolode as much, but I do really like the Agrocybes. So I'm going to switch to that, and it is the Fat Man and Little Boy. They should be going on the website this week. Check why doesn't autocorrect work when I need it? It never works when I need it. Autocorrect, well, I shouldn't say that sometimes, but raise frogs for fly control in the grow room. Combo with your spiders. I actually wonder if that they would be effective at the fungus gnats. Maybe the little like spring peepers. Maybe they would work out in the grow room. We should talk about that personally, but yeah, I look like comic book villain. Okay, Roan, let's get together, man. Let's talk about it, because, man, this is a problem. It's definitely not that bad, but inflammation issues run in my family. One of my cousins has psoriasis. Another cousin has arthritis. I have arthritis and the dishydrosis. I seem to have gotten what the specialist called it, genetic lottery. I won the genetic lottery. And then Samantha's family's got inflammation issues, so my kids double won the inflammation lottery. But that's not cool, man. I feel your pain. I'm getting in these blisters. They just itch constantly. Hericium will fruit on liquid culture. Oh my God, I've heard everything, dude. Oh my God, honey mushrooms. Honey mushroom. Go buy honey mushrooms from Lenny Rockwell. Inject into some liquid culture. Don't even put a stir bar in it. Do not stir it. Let it grow a thick mat on the top, and it will grow tentacles in the liquid culture. It is badass looking. Put a light behind it. It looks like something alien in a jar. You ever want to have a mad scientist laboratory? Honey mushrooms and liquid culture. I don't remember which honey mushroom makes the best tentacles. I remember I tried all of them. Melia, however you say that. I think that one made the best ones, but I could be wrong. But it's amazing. One, does 50% soy, 50% 50% soy. Does 50% soy, 50% need brand 2? Okay, Richard, I don't think I understand your question entirely, but I'm going to take a stab at it. No, if you're doing 50%, if you're doing a 50% supplementation with soy, you do not need 50% supplementation with brand 2. If I'm doing a brand substrate, a brand supplemented substrate for shiitake, I do a 40% supplementation with brand. And if I'm doing soy, I do a 50% supplementation with soy. That's the Master's Mix, created by TR Davis over at Earth Angel Mushrooms. If you guys don't know his YouTube, you should check it out. He is, I guess you'd call him a block provider more than a mushroom farmer now. I think he still does grow mushrooms, but he does a lot of block work. He does a lot of work on farms in Brazil as well. So seems weird. I seem like I've got, I don't know what it is. I've got a lot of Canadian consults. And I'm not sure why that is, why I seem to attract so many Canadians, but I like it. I love Canadians. Especially you what do you call yourselves, Quebecers with the French accent? That's kind of cool. Thank you so much for the answers. I want to let you know I will be buying in large and frequent orders from you for my research. Well, thank you, Mortal. I appreciate that. Also, I've been going to the Mycelium Emporium. I was wondering if you wanted some plates that I have made. Plates of what? Because I'm always interested in new strains, but if it's like some of Lenny's stuff, Lenny and I actually trade a lot. So I actually have most of the stuff from Mycelium Emporium. Or if I want it, I'll just let him know and he and I will trade something. So I appreciate that. But if you have something like novel, I'm always down to trade. So if you guys ever want to trade cultures, get in touch with me. If it's something I'm interested in, I can actually go with it for sure. Let's see. As far as ordering from me frequently, man, I appreciate it. But I hope that you're buying a syringe and then making your own and saving some money. That's why one of the reasons I'm putting out videos. You can buy one syringe from me and make 40 syringes out of it in a quart jar and save some money. But Mortal, I will always happily provide you the best product I can. So thank you. Rheumatoid arthritis is an autoimmune disease. Yeah. It may respond like my psoriasis did to sauerkraut. Oh, I used to eat a lot of sauerkraut that I made myself, and I didn't have these problems back then. Try eating live cultures 3 times a day. So I do drink kefir, but I haven't been drinking it lately. It's bacteria that balance your T cells. I'm not familiar with T cells. I mean, look, I'll just pull up a tab. I'm a tabber, guys. I always have like a huge string of tabs going across. Hi, Mrs. Mushroom. Oh, did you guys see Samantha? Oh my goodness, the chat jumped again. Okay. Richard Mack. It keeps jumping. Stay still. Do you recommend reishi and lion's mane good with 100% oak or master's mix? Okay, so yes, reishi and lion's mane can both be grown on the master's mix. 50% hardwood fuel pellets, 50%. Well, thank you, Alex. Thank you very much. Let's see. Yeah, both of them work with the master's mix. 50% hardwood fuel pellets, 50% soybean hull pellets. Farmer Mac, 1 spore at a time. Heck yeah, man. Let's see. Also, nightshades like potatoes exacerbate psoriasis, so it may be the same issue. I'd say that's right, Ed. I will say that I seem like I can eat tomatoes and peppers, which is good because those are my favorite foods: tomatoes and peppers and onions. But eating potatoes in general really sucks. It really, really sucks because I love potatoes, man. I'm Scots-Irish. I love potatoes. Though, interestingly enough, the Scots, unlike the Scot-Irish, unlike the Scots and the Irish and the English, ate way more meat and way less starches than the average person around that same area. So mainly because farming sucked in the middle of a war zone for 400 years. So, but going off that, the issues with it are potatoes, a lot of breads, carbohydrates, things like that I've noticed seem to really exasperate it. But I'll definitely check out. I eliminated tomatoes and peppers from my diet for a while, went on the autoimmune disease diet, and man, my issues cleared up almost immediately. And I will say that since COVID's hit and the warehouse build out and not having a day off, I have not been preparing my own food like I used to. So about the only carbohydrate I can really eat in large quantities and not have any issues with is rice. So I don't know what the issue is with that, but check my fungi. Your message retracted, or you retracted it. Farmer Mac, Fat Man. Yeah, the Fat Man, like the atomic bomb, Fat Man and Little Boy. Fat Man is my black poplar strain that I've bred that is thick. It is a fat boy. It is a huge stem, but it's not fibrous like Sword Belt gets. It is like a king oyster stem with a black poplar taste. It is just, oh, guys, it may be one of the best things I've ever done. Sorry, I shouldn't brag about myself. I do have a question. Sent you an email a bit ago about a logo commission. Never heard back from you. I'm so sorry, man. I'm getting about 200 emails a day right now. I know you're busy. Figure I got lost in the shuffle since you are here. Is that a possibility? Yeah. So Samantha's been working on them. She's had to slow way down. We never expected her logo side hustle to take off so well. So she's actually hardly ever getting to work on mushroom stuff right now. But it is a possibility. I hate to ask you to do this, man. Can you email me again, like really soon, either after this is over or right now? I would love to get you taken care of. I will, as soon as I get it, I write it like you're writing it to Samantha. I will forward it to her as soon as I see it come in. If you'll do it right now, I'll do it on my phone. Just say, if you'll even just reply to your own to me, I'll just run that on to her. And I'm so sorry for dropping the ball on you. I realized I could pull up a second tab right around the time you said it, lol, but now to go play Dr. Mario with the wife. Have a good one. Man, heck yeah, go have fun with your wife. We'll go play with my wife in a little bit. You know what I mean. I didn't mean that. No, maybe. Do you differentiate between your bear's head and lion's mane? Why don't you sell lion's mane culture? I do differentiate between bear's head and lion's mane. I don't sell lion's mane. I do sell the culture and the medicinals, primarily because it's the one that had the most studies on it. Comb tooth has a better texture and flavor than lion's mane, particularly on master's mix. I found that growing lion's mane on master's mix, I would often get bitter fruits. They would be bitter. Comb tooth, I've never gotten. It's such a sweet tasting mushroom. Bear's head, interestingly enough, has a very interesting effect where if it is in the grow room and it is starting to really mature, it gives a fragrance off almost like maple syrup. Lion's mane doesn't do that. And both of those mushrooms are better tasting and better textured than lion's mane, in my opinion. So I only push things that I use on a regular basis. And since I don't use lion's mane on a regular basis, except I make my own capsules, for myself. Beyond that, I use a mix of lion's mane, bear's head, and comb tooth in my capsules. I don't just do lion's mane. Sorry about my last question. Let me rephrase. If I use master's mix, should I bother also adding brand? No, you're using that. You only need a carbon source and a supplement in basic speak. So your soy is your supplement. Your brand is a supplement. You don't have to use both. You might be able to, calculate out and use both if you want, but yeah, guys, ever since I got this twisty chair, it's kind of nice. I get to rock myself to sleep, right? Hey, Silver Leapers. Non-grain rice may be glyphosate issues. Oh, What's non-grain rice? You talking about like non-whole grain? Basically, I can eat like the stuff you get at a Chinese restaurant, the white rice. Brown rice, I don't remember. I don't think I ever tried that. Adding that back to my diet. But that's an interesting issue. I'll have to look that up. I've not heard of that being associated with inflammation issues. Have I grown cordyceps? I have. I am terrible at it. If you want to see someone who's good at it, terrestrial fungi. Ryan Paul Gates. He is the master. Ryan Paul Gates is a buddy of mine, and that guy is about one of the smartest dudes on the planet. Smart little Arab hippie he is. I like Ryan a lot. Ryan and I met online on Facebook, I think. Yeah, it had to be Facebook. And he and I think, started around the same time. And he focused more on reishi, which he used to be my favorite reishi bonsai master. He would do these like reishi blocks on a pedestal and would like turn the light or change the light or CO2. I don't even know what all he did, man, but he had some cool like clinking. I don't know what you'd call it, where it like grows, widens out, pinches back in. He would do all these amazing reishi bonsais. Go to Mushroom Growing on Facebook and like just search Ryan Paul Gates. Yes, it's Ryan Paul Gates. Okay, just to make sure I wasn't mixing him and Ryan Palmer up. But now I think that my favorite reishi master, is what I would call him, is Horsefled on Instagram. That guy has created these reishi bonsai landscapes and really run with it. Going back to Ryan, he is a cordyceps master. William Padilla Brown is another one. I love William Padilla Brown. He and I have hardly ever spoken. We don't really know each other, but I admire his work from afar. I remember when he first started off and I'd sit there and do it, I was like, man, I can tell this kid's going places. He has a hustle to him. So William Padilla Brown, and I'm assuming it's Padilla and not Padilla because it's 2 L's, but check him out. Check out Ryan Paul Gates and check out Horsefled. I don't know Horsefled's real name. I just started following him on Instagram. I've only like commented to him a couple of times, but those guys are all cordyceps growers. Horsefled being like what I would consider the reishi bonsai master. Ryan Paul Gates being the former holder of the reishi bonsai master title, and William Padilla Brown being one of the best cordyceps guys out there. I know William Padilla Brown used to work with Alex Dorr of Mushroom Revival. I don't think they work together anymore. I'm not sure what's up with that. I don't know if they had a falling out or if they just, I'm not sure what happened. But yeah, that would be who I'd go to for cordyceps. I am an oyster man, and I do a lot of other interesting things, I feel like, but I am not Mac. I am not a cordyceps man. I haven't tried growing it in a long time. I probably would have had much better results if I did buy William's book on it. And if I had that book back when I first tried to grow cordyceps, I think that I would have had much better results. Also, genetics plays a huge part in it. And back then when I tried, there was only like 1 or 2 cordyceps cultures running around. Most of them like played out, spent. Lactobacillus plantarum in kimchi and sauerkraut has been shown to lessen autoimmune in mice. Really? And works for me. 3 times a day for 2 weeks, and it takes like 2 to 3 weeks to help. Okay. I will start making some sauerkraut. I love sauerkraut. And I did go to Walmart, and they had all these fermentation jar lids. So that got springs on the bottom, like stainless steel springs, and a one-way valve they look awesome. We used to make our own. So, no worries, I'll do that in just in a minute. Thanks, Checkmate. Little Shop in the Shed says, just grew a kit from Back to the Roots. It didn't say what kind of mushrooms they were supposed to be, but they look like gray oysters with slight blue ring. Neat looking. Yeah, I think most of them are a blue oyster. Blue oysters will go gray. Blue oysters will go gray when they're warm. So, going to cook up some LC jars when you list Little Man and Fat Boy. It is Fat Man and Little Boy, but I absolutely will get those. I'll make that a priority. Let me put that on my phone so I can make sure I can get you guys up there and I'm not lying to you. Let's see. List Fat Man and Little Boy by Thursday. Thursday sound good? If I talk to Melanie tonight, she'd probably have it up in no time. I think she's probably just needs pictures from me, which I just got uploaded to the drive today. Do you grow out mycelium for supplements? If so, how? I use mushrooms. We just dry mushrooms. I will say that I have made it with mycelium, and I just grow it on white rice in a bag like I would grain spawn. And then I dry it out and grind it up in a Ninja blender, food processor or whatever. Hey, my friend, love your videos. Thanks, Jess. Please never stop doing them. I don't plan to. Honestly, it's killing me not being able to put in more. Like, this is my artistic. This, I guess, isn't so much artistic, but my videos are like my outlet. Greetings from Venezuela. About your health issues, I can recommend enough to people a fasting living style and keto diet. So I've done keto, and I had good results with keto. And keto actually got me to where I'm eating a lot more meat and a lot less carbohydrates. I'm eating a lot more carbohydrates right now because I am not eating very well. Can I help you, son?
I'm just wondering if you're still on the live stream.
I am still on the live stream. But yes, I've heard about fasting. I've got a friend who fasts, and I see that he seems to like it a lot. So maybe I'll try the fast. Actually, I guess I kind of fast already. I don't eat during the day. I only eat before I go to bed. I might have a breakfast, like a whey shake in the morning. So maybe having a whey shake and eating at bedtime is not fasting. Maybe I should concentrate it more down. I don't know. I have several kinds of reishi here and wild morel that I've been working with. Most of my mushrooms are not safe, like my favorite ghost fungus, but I do see that my Slimborian has what I have. Okay. If they've got the same strains, like morel, like I am interested in morels. I know some people have been working with morels for a while with not very good results, but I used to grow out the spawn for it a lot and sell it to some of the good old boys out here that do a lot of morel hunting. And many of them have claimed that they have gotten good seasonal patches with the spawn. And in fact, oh crap, I was supposed to make up some morel spawn for a guy. I'll tell you what that is. I've seen many doctors here on YouTube attribute autoimmune issues like lupus and arthritis to gut problems related to gut permeability and, generally speaking, related to the food we eat. There are many doctors here in YouTube talking about it. Also, have you heard about Michaela Peterson? She cured her juvenile arthritis. Yes, I actually love Jordan Peterson and found out about his fabulously beautiful daughter, Michaela, recently on Instagram and started looking at her. But she does carnivore, I think, more than anything. And I think Jordan did too, and it helped a lot with his mental problems. And I think like he actually had when his wife got cancer, I think he started not eating quite as well. And of course, I mean, your wife having cancer is going to cause all kinds of issues. I think they had some medication stuff going on too. That's why Jordan's been out of the limelight. But yeah, I love Jordan Peterson, man. His book, 13 Rules for Life or something like that. Samantha and I both read it. Love it. Helped us turn a lot of stuff around. I've never found a way to beat autoimmune issues. It's tough to fight that stuff, especially if it runs in the family. Yeah, it runs strong in my family, both sides. So email sent. Thanks. Oh, yeah, checkmate. Let me pull it up and do what I told you I would do. Awesome. Forward to Samantha. Cool. Awesome. Got you forwarded. Checkmate. You will not be lost in the shuffle now. Samantha doesn't lose the track of things like I do. Do you grow your reishi similar to your oysters? Are there any differences? John, no, I do not. I grow my reishi in the top of my bag. I do not cut any holes. Oh, no, Bob, I don't. And there you go. Sorry. I don't take poop questions unless it's about growing mushrooms. All right. So, and the chat jumped right when I don't have a mouse. Move it up. And the chat does not seem to want to. Sorry, guys. The chat freaked out on me. I'm putting you guys in a pop-out window. So I can't see anything. I can't see anything that you guys have said until it loads. All right. Let's go back up to where we're at. Do you grow reishi similar? Okay, that's what I was answering. Sorry, John. I actually forgot what I was answering. The reishi, I don't ever open the bag until I harvest. So I can grow reishi without a grow room. I grow on Master's Mix. It grows in antler form inside the bags there. And the antlers grow up to the top. They'll all combine together at the top. I then cut it off, use 10 snips to just all of it off. And then cut it into pieces and sell it for $96 a pound, dried. Let's see. Best tasting oyster mush in your opinion? Are we talking texture or taste or overall? I'll tell you what, I'll just answer all three. Taste-wise, let's say I think I like golden oysters best. I think the golden oyster's got the best flavor of any of the oysters. Texture, I think a king oyster is probably the best texture. It's that meatiness, much like a scallop. Oh, man, I love it. And overall, good combination between the two. Best flavor and texture combo for be down between the mother of pearl or the king blue oyster. Let's see, which one of those would I choose? If I had to choose one, probably 3 weeks ago I would have chosen king blue, but now I think I would choose the mother of pearl. So hope that helps. How long to pressure cook liquid culture? Do jars ever boil over? I've not had a problem with jars boiling over. I cook mine for 30 minutes at 15 psi. I will say that I have noticed that with my All-American, I actually need to cook for 45 minutes. Otherwise, I start having higher contamination rates. Brandon says, Magic brought me here. Awesome setup, man, by the way. Thank you, Brandon. I appreciate it. And for whatever reason you're brought here, I appreciate it. Thanks for such good info. Absolutely, Mac. I really hope that I can be as useful to you as possible. Can I bypass the grain spawn and pour liquid culture into my substrates and go from there? James, I have had problems with that. It always stalls out on me. And I'm sure that there is a way to do it. I just haven't figured it out yet. Neo Geo says, Peterson is the man. Hey, man, I agree. Jordan Peterson has got his stuff figured out. I really like it. I really wish he was more active right now. I'd be really interested to hear what he's got to say on the current situation. Jojo says, advice for ketamine addiction. I have never heard of ketamine addiction. I didn't know you could be addicted to ketamine. So no, I don't have any advice on addictions of any sort. I eat my specific blood type and I love it. You know, Mac, I used to follow the blood type diet and I had pretty good results with it. But it said sweet potatoes for me, and I hate sweet potatoes. Hate them. Think they're disgusting. Except sweet potato fries. I do like those. Hey, hello, Rodney. Thank you. I'm glad you like our content. Can shiitake be grown on BRF cakes? I don't know. I've never tried that. They will grow on wheat bran blocks. Jojo says, do you grow magic mushrooms? And Rodney says, I doubt he does. Jojo, Rodney, you are correct. I do not. The moment I got a business license, I made sure not to have any illicit anything. Any chance, especially with mushroom tattoos, my first tattoo ever was, oh my gosh. That is a really inconvenient place to show you guys. There's a morel that I got. I took a copy of Eugenia Bone's book to a tattoo artist here locally and had him basically just stencil it out and just copy that because I read that book and it had such an effect on me. And that was very early on in my mushroom career. And I grew oyster mushrooms and sold them. And the first time that I grew oyster mushrooms and sold them, I went and got a tattoo from that book. So, and ever since I've had that, it wasn't long after I got that tattoo that I got pulled over for speeding. But I had mushrooms in the back. Sorry, the comments distracted me. I'll get to them in a second. The mushroom, I got pulled over for speeding and had a cop see the mushroom and was like, oh, you have it? And I was like, yeah, I've got mushrooms in the back. I'm a mushroom farmer. It's like, oh, are you? And he was like, oh, okay. Search top to bottom. So I just, after that, especially, I was like, oh my gosh, definitely want to stay away from illicit stuff because being a mushroom grower in general gets you, people are suspicious of you. Then having tattoos around here in East Tennessee is doubly suspicious. Arthur Lee says, any chance you could reconsider naming those strains something other than Fat Man and Little Boy? Those bombs caused a lot of tragedy, and it's too loaded for innocent mushrooms. Not a chance. Well, no disrespect to you or your family's heritage with the Manhattan Project and all that. Just don't want to glorify weapons of mass destruction. Know what I'm saying? So, Arthur, I do know what you're saying. For years, one of the things I am most ashamed about is the grief I gave my grandfather. He used to take us to the museum up at Y12, and I used to refuse to go. Used to refuse to go because said that I didn't want to go and glorify ancestors that had murdered or had a hand in murdering millions of people. But after really getting into it and reading the stories of how those bombs got dropped in the first place, and really digging into it, I'm not ashamed of my family history, and I'm not ashamed of the bombs being dropped. So, not going to do it. Appreciate the answers and can't wait on the farm kit from you. I have to go and continue my research of porcelain plates. Heck yeah, Mortal. I'll get you taken care of, man. Yep, too bad he's sick now. Yeah, I know, man. It is sad. Peterson was the man for sure. It doesn't seem to want to colonize. What? Wait, okay, who's sick? What doesn't want to colonize? I am so confused. Lol. Rodney Dump, I doubt he does. Talking about me being sick? Your culture being sick? I'm not sure. I'm not sure how to help with that, man. Best color for Petri plates, agar. Blue. But blue's my favorite color. That's why I chose blue for my standard one. What book? What book? Man, Rodney, I'm so confused, man. What are you talking about? Did I say something about a book? Am I losing my mind? Do you have morel spores? I do not. I don't sell spores of any kind. I sell spawn. I sell liquid culture. I don't sell spawn right now because you guys have been ordering so much and I can't keep up with my own production of that. But I don't have morel spores. And most morels, spores are not going to be the best way to spawn would be the way you'd want to do it out in the woods. Sorry I didn't order from you. It was my first kit, and that was the cheapest, fastest one on Amazon. We'll definitely order from you in the future. Thanks for your time, and I'll see you. No problem, Little Shop. Hey, guys, there are plenty of other good mushroom providers out there. You do not have to buy from me. So I am in particular proud of my liquid culture. It took a long time for me to come around on that one, and I got really good at it. And so I'm happy to provide you with all the liquid culture you want and the unique strains that you want. But there are people who are a lot better at me at a lot of different things. And kits are one thing I'm not really that good at. So your kits, please, everyone, go buy kits from the guys on Amazon. Support the small growers. Support the smaller guys. Kits are definitely one of the best ways to get into the mushroom game. And it's one that I'm not really. Selling kits is not my favorite thing at all. And I will do it. And I will love you guys for buying them. But I want to make sure that you guys support the small growers too. So, I think that I offer unique products, and I would appreciate your business on unique products. But as far as feeling like you get like any loyalty to buy from me, guys, let me dispel you of that right now. Buy it from the best person you can get the product from. And I would like to think that I'm the best person for certain products, but please, like I said, support. All of us mushroom growers need support. Spread the love. Let's see. Chat jumped, and I cannot find you guys again. All right, here we go. Started some agar in the pressure cooker. Forgot. Then remembered a few hours later. Bet you can figure out how that went. Smelled so bad. Oh, gosh. Right now? Like, did I distract you that much? Yeah, man. Yeah, burnt agar is terrible. Oh, and it's so hard to clean out of a pressure cooker. I've had that adventure a couple of times. Second time it happened to me, I had employees, so I had Jason clean it out. He was not happy with me. I wanted to start growing here in Venezuela. Do you think liquid culture can survive the trip? Probably, but I don't have an export license to Venezuela. I've got a guy that's helping me get one going for New Zealand, and another guy that's getting me for Australia. But I do have the ability to ship to Canada and Mexico now. But I don't think that I don't know if I can legally ship to Venezuela. I'd have to look into the laws behind that. Are oysters good to learn edibles? Can you suggest an edible for beginners? Let's see. Yeah, I mean, pretty much any of the oysters are going to be good, except kings. So you're going to want like a blue oyster, gold oyster, or a phoenix oyster of some type. Those are going to be like an Italian oyster, I guess is what that would be called. Those are going to be the kindest. They're going to have the most information out there on them. They're going to be the most commonly grown strains. They'll probably be the easiest thing, or the things that you would feel the most comfortable with, because there's going to be a billion pictures for you to compare it to. But pretty much any oyster culture, other than king oysters, is going to be pretty easy to grow. Ordering your comb tooth and mother of pearl LC. Should I grow both on master's mix? Any special growing conditions? Both can be grown on master's mix. Both can be grown in the same conditions. I grow both of those in the same grow room. For the comb tooth, I will say that I do the hole differently. I usually cut my little 1 inch by 1 inch square. When I am growing comb tooth, I just take a knife like this one. You got your block, and I just stab it into the block. And like I'll go deep, but I'll come right back out. It'll only leave a slit about that long. And that's all you need for comb tooth. It will grow. It'll stretch out that plastic. It'll grow huge. So I've left myco bags in pressure cooker only twice, never agar plates. Oh my gosh, agar is so bad left in there. I have left bags in there and had the plastic melt, and that was also not fun. I try to be as careful as I can be to really make sure that I don't leave stuff out there. So Peterson is sick. Oh, that's right. Yeah, he is. Yeah. Shiitake won't colonize. Gotcha. On BRF. Yeah, man, a mushroom book, I think. A mushroom book. The one I was talking about when you were talking about my morel tattoo. Eugenia Bone is the one who wrote it. Eugenia Bone Mushrooms. Let's see, what was the name of that book? I've read so many mushroom books. It's like Mushroom Hunters. Mycophilia. Mycophilia, as in the love of mushrooms. You said it was a good one. It is a good book. It is a very good book. It is not it's not going to teach you anything about growing mushrooms, but it's about mushroom culture, basically. Kind of like the Mushroom Hunters by Langdon Cook is also a really good one. He kind of goes into the outlaw culture of mushrooms, how mushrooms has a very strong outlaw culture. And it does. I've noticed that big time. Then I got a Bubba's Barrel best investment ever. Yeah, I can see that. I feel like the Bubba's Barrels are a little overpriced for what they do, but they are a good almost plug and play option. I prefer like a steamer trough with a sauna steamer. You're talking about $500, and you can do 170 12-pound bags at a time. At the big end, at the more standard load, about 120 12-pound bags. Bubba's Barrel is good though, man. I know I've got a lot of students who use the Bubba's Barrel, and a lot of them are happy with it until they are trying to run a commercial op on them, and they're having to bend down into the barrel up and over. But at that point, you just use your Bubba's Barrel as a boiler for your trough, is the way I look at it, as long as it's got enough power to it. Sporeworks has always done me well for Spores. Yeah, the Sporeworks is a great place for Spores. They're actually here local to me. I know the owner. Let's see. What is a good guide for beginner growers? E.g., what type of substrates, temps, methods are best for each type of mushroom? So you're wanting somebody or something. YouTube is a great place for that. Mushroom growing on Facebook is a good place for that. If you're talking about a book, I think that the best mushroom Bible out there, if you're only going to get one book on growing mushrooms, it'd be Radical Mycology by Peter McCoy. I still think that Paul Stamets' Growing Gourmet and Medicinal Mushrooms is a good guide. Mushroom Cultivator is a good one. Though both of those are a little outdated in some information, though after having gone back recently and read Growing Gourmet and Medicinal Mushrooms, I have recently found out that he's actually talked about a lot of things that I figured out, and I was like, oh, crap, he actually talks about some of those things in there. It's been so long since I read the book. Trad Cotter's book, was it something in micro-remediation, mushroom growing and gourmet mushrooms and micro-remediation, or I can't remember. That's an okay book. And then I've heard Brian Callow wrote a book. I haven't read that one yet. Set it and forget it. Not like the stovetop pressure cooker. Yeah. Bubba's Barrel is a lot better for that set and forget style. I'll hand you that, hands down, way better for that. Let's see, Rocco Reed. I can't believe how certain factions try to convince us that Jordan Peterson loves Lenin and every other fascist when he speaks out against them all the time. Yeah, Rocco, I feel you. It's just kind of the way the culture's going, man. I try to stay out of the culture war as much as possible. Just do my business, man. That's all I want. Live my life, raise my kids. Shiitake is a hardwood mushroom, doesn't grow too well on BRF. So Kyle, that's what I would expect, but I didn't know. So Rodney, I hope that answers your question, man. Try a hardwood substrate. Like go get a bag of hardwood fuel pellets. You can get a lot of hardwood fuel pellets like for smoking and stuff at Walmart for just small amounts for test. It's not going to be the most economic choice as like going and buying hardwood fuel pellets from like Tractor Supply or something, but it'd work. Any advice on preventing moisture condensation buildup in grow room? Having those wide swings, college boys. You're talking like having a humidistat that goes down to 65%, cuts on, goes up to 85%, cuts back off, back down, up and down. It's those wide swings will reduce a lot of the condensation buildup. You don't want wet floors or anything. Cool, thanks. I spend so much time reading shroomery, my brain hurts. Yeah, Rodney, no kidding, man. Honestly, though, while I love the shroomery, and I'm actually about to link to one of the posts to one of the old timers on there, why I use oats in the first place. I'm going to be posting that on underneath one of my videos in the description. I'm doing one on grain spawn right now, and I'll use his as a source for why I use oats. But I feel you, man. Go to Mushroom Growing on Facebook. There's a lot of stuff on there. Just so much information. That's a good place to start. Once you get going to where more commercial size, you get up to Commercial Mushroom Growers Network. There's the Mossback Mushroom Syndicate. I feel like it's a good place. That's our group for the YouTube channel. So how do I prevent moisture condensation buildup? Oh, I answered that one. Mycotopia as well. I like the smaller communities. I love DMT Nexus. Okay, I've not been on DMT Nexus. And I do like the smaller communities for sure, but it's hard to have much reach on that. Thanks, Mac. Appreciate it. How to prevent moisture? Oh, college boys, I answered that. You're going to the chat is the delay, so give me a moment to answer it before you keep spamming the same question. Just received your golden and blue oyster liquid culture. Heck yeah, Jeff. Should I propagate them to make much more, or just start some jars, or both? I want each syringe from you. The way I would do it, man, is do maybe 4 jars in a pressure cooker. Do a couple milliliters into each jar, and then use the rest of what you're going to have 6 more milliliters left to play with to do whatever you want. And now you'll have 80 syringes of both if you're using quart jars, 500 milliliters of each. But yeah, man, have fun with them. That golden, I love that gold strain. Yeah, Rodney, you're welcome. Where did you get your HEPA filter fan and your HEPA filters for your flow hood? Making my own laminar flow hood is my next big project I'm excited about. Thank you, Andrew. So I have other sources. We're actually probably going to be selling the HEPA filters eventually, like just box units built out. The HEPA filter is from HEPA Core out in California, I think. But I ended up getting this filter and fan, the ones that you saw on Facebook, from Fungi Perfecti. The fans that I would normally buy have been sold out everywhere, and Fungi Perfecti had them. So I bought the fan and the filter. Cost me maybe $1,000, a little bit less than that for the fan and the filter. You can get all-in-one units from Eric Myers. They're not rated as high on your flow rate, so they're not going to be. They're good enough to work. They are definitely good enough to work. Plenty of people are producing great clean work off of them. I think TR Davis got a couple, and I thought about getting a couple, but for about the same price, I was able to build a much higher rated filter. So, and it's not on the filtration level. It's on the flow rate. There are multiple things to consider. It's not just filtration. On HEPA filters, there's actually a lot of design that goes into them, from the size of the plenum, which is the space between it's basically you have a filter face, the plenum behind it is where air goes in, cycles in until enough pressure is built up, and then goes out, and it allows for even flow. The plenum on my filter is going to be larger. The flow rate of the power that the flow that the fan's going to be pushing is going through that. So while I think that Eric Meyer's stuff is great for production work, it's not what I wanted to use in my culture lab is all. So, but he's a good place to go for all-in-one units. That's basically a plug-and-play unit for about the same price you can get a fan and a filter for that are more expensive. Oh crap! What is it? Air Science is in Florida. It might be a better choice for southern growers. I think they also sell biosafety cabinets, and I am going to be getting a biosafety cabinet for my culture lab at some point, and exhausting that into basically a biosecure container. Let's see. Oh my goodness, I've lost the place. Okay. Hey, and you're very welcome, Brack. Very welcome. I hope I'm not butchering your name. I hope it's Brack and not Brock. Richard Mack, are you way backed up on LCs? Just Oregon was wondering. No, we are not. It's not next day shipping, but it's usually within a week. Within a week we ship. So used to be it was next day. So I guess in that sense we're backed up. But no, I mean, as soon as I get someone hired in and I'm not doing as much work by myself as I'm doing, Jason and Laura coming in, they're working 3 days a week. They're doing fantastic work. I'm getting a little overwhelmed with everything. In fact, I think tomorrow, guys, in all honesty, I haven't had a day off in like 2 months, 3 months, something like that. Think I'm going to take part of tomorrow and go swimming. So just FYI. I can already tell, like with my arthritis acting up and these bubbles coming up, these blisters, it's time to take a day. So, but the answer is no. No, usually I try to get your postage printed, and then the next shipping day is when your order ships. How to prevent moisture condensation buildup in the grow room? Rodney, I assume you're messing with me. I was reading about Workman's breeding techniques a few days. Workman's. What's Workman's breeding technique? Workman's breeding technique. Workman's breeding technique. The actor, so hopefully you'll clarify what that is as well. Oh, okay. So yeah, guys. I got you. He's a psilocybin grower. So I'll tell you, Yggdrasil, that I am in a lot of breeding groups on Facebook, and they're all psilocybin guys. And I get daily messages about, hey, I saw you're in such and such group. Do you grow and sell? Can you sell me some? And I'm like, no, man. And I'll just be honest with them. I absolutely do not grow or sell that stuff. But these guys have the best breeding techniques I have ever seen. It's better than any academic out there. So once you isolate a variety on agar, what are the chances the same genetics will show through in an LC? Is very good chances that it will show through in an LC. Once you have that culture isolated, shouldn't be much variation going forward. That said, maybe I'm wrong. Bowen. I have shop light listed as a suitable for damp locations with the LED tubes also listed for damp locations. These good for grow room. So I'm taking no liability here, as in I take no responsibility for the condition of your grow room or how you have things set up, because that's going to matter a lot, the details. The answer is yes, the light should be fine. Especially, you want like a good 6,500 Kelvin spectrum, suitable for damp locations. It sounds like it's been humidity hardened, but may not be waterproof. So they may be thinking a basement, not a grow room. I do use grow room lights. However, with the House of Hydrofog, that humidity is much drier than what you're getting with misting systems. So if you're like the answer is yes, probably, maybe. but recognizing that you take responsibility for your own setup, and I am not liable if you create an electrical fire. Rodney says, if a person put a bunch of spore prints into cow's water, would they eventually poop some of that would yield fruiting bodies? Rodney, that would be so cool as a breeding project. What strains can we get if we mix a bunch of different spore prints into cow's water? Let the cows drink it like crazy, right? And then they go through and they make their little cow patties all over the cow field. You wait for a rain and for them to flush. And then, now granted, this is only with poop-dwelling species, dung lovers, but that would be a cool technique to just use in general. Man, you could use so many different substrates and inoculant vectors like that. It's almost like a wild way of doing it too. And if you use different isolated varieties, you could tailor different crosses. That would be neat. I don't know if it would work, but that would be neat. No, college boys, don't worry, man. Chats are weird, man. What's up, Chris? Shroomery says in Illinois that cubensis does not exist, but I know people who have cows and they're here. It's pretty much everywhere, man. I don't know about Illinois. It doesn't live in cold places, and Illinois does seem cold, but people, they say it doesn't grow in Tennessee either, but I have seen people find it in Tennessee. Yggdrasil at Vanzil. If I have an isolate on agar, when you transfer to a liquid, it's still the same genetics, it's just in a different, more easy to use form. There you go. Basically. I just want to know how you will build a new steamer for bag steaming. We're going to be using palletized steamers. I've been kind of playing that close to the chest, but I've decided I'm just going to give out the information. I saw someone built a pallet steamer one time, and it's literally what you think. It is a pallet. We're going to modify the guy's design a bit, but it's just a pallet with a frame built around it, a steam distribution system. We're going to do quick connects for our steam pipes. And we'll basically be able to run a pallet cut the element, right? We're normally running, this is the way we're doing. We're doing two 4.5 kilowatt elements. We run one element for 12 hours, cut it. Next one runs for 12 hours for a total of 24-hour run. With that being said, what I'll probably do is run a pallet at 9 kilowatts, come in the next day when I would cut it off, that second element, and turn a valve to where it is now directing steam at a second pallet. So I'll be pre-warming that pallet, thereby hopefully being able to cut my cook time down. When I cut the power to the other pallet, it'll just be completely redirecting the steam to the one pallet, disconnect. Thinking about doing basically like an air mattress blower with a HEPA filter on it to quick cool my blocks. And probably should have a pretty decent little system going where I can just run 5 days a week instead of just 3. Agreed. Bubba is pretty overpriced. I converted an Amazon $60 200K BTU propane burner to natural gas and slipped it under the Bubba's. It's the 50 gallons, so it heats up in 30 minutes on a hot day. And because I am at sea level, I have good luck doing only 8 hours for grain spawn. So my turnover is pretty quick. Also, the chat is like 3 or 5 minutes ahead of stream. So sorry if this all comes out weird. Don't worry about it, man. And yeah, it is like I'm trying to catch up, but it's not always easy. Yeah, man. That sounds good. That actually sounds like a good way to go, in my opinion. Is it feasible to do spawn to grain transfer to propagate spawn? Yes, absolutely. You can. It's called generational spawn. You do generation 1, generation 2, generation 3. However clean your spawn is and your technique is, you can theoretically go forever. No one ever can go forever, but there you go. Hey, Thomas Page. Happy I made it. Take care of yourself, man. You too. Workman is the guy from Sporeworks. Pretty sure his name is Bob. Maybe there's a manager over there that I don't know. Or maybe it's a handle. Maybe I don't know. Might you ever consider doing a video displaying different types of contamination in different mediums like agar and liquid culture? Nathan, I am already working on that series. I have a right here. Oh, right there is my microscope rig, and I'm working on time-lapse videos of contamination on agar, and I'm working on microscopic shots. So yes, the answer is I will be doing a video on that. I'm trying to compile. In fact, Samantha and Laura know that whenever they find contamination to come get me, and I'm swabbing it on dishes, and then watching it germinate under the microscope. Problem I'm having right now is figuring out how to get the time lapse of a agar plate without condensation building up and quickly obscuring my view. I've even switched over to cool LED lighting instead of my halogen lights on the microscope. And it helps some, but still, I've tapped holes in the agar dishes to make it more breathable. And it did create a ring around that hole, but I don't want to do too many holes, and I don't want to do it open because it'll dry out. I don't want to do it open because mold spores will be flying all over my studio. So I'm trying to figure stuff out, but I absolutely will do it. I guess I can just do a macro shot one at the very least. Let's see. Other than your FAE, your Fresh Air Exchange fan, do you have any other fan or means of keeping standing water from becoming an issue? So if you're getting those wide swings in your humidity, you're having a good low 65% and a high of 85%, you should not be having standing water. Or you're using low pressure misting systems, or maybe even a high pressure misting system. Your fogger, if you have a house of hydro fogger, like an ultrasonic fogger, you should have a very dry fog, no dripping, no condensation, no water on the floor. I occasionally get like a small puddle on the floor, depending on if it's raining outside or anything else, but it's really rare, and it definitely doesn't stay up there. So, I don't know enough about your setup, but no, I don't have any other fans. Other than I do have a small, waterproof fan blowing into the humidifier to blow the fog out. But that's not in the grow room, it's outside the grow room. Gotcha, Yggdrasil. Yeah, I'll definitely check out his breeding technique. I'd love to see it. Best humidifier for a Martha chamber is a House of Hydro unit. You should be able to get away with a 3 to, they sell 3 to 6 disc unit. Use code Mossy. I do get a kickback, all honesty, but it's this exact same foggers I use for my grow rooms. How important is light for fruiting? Could you grow any in the dark? There are mushrooms you can grow in the dark, but it's much like growing celery in the dark. It's how you get that nice pale celery. Enoki does really well in the dark. Light is about one of the most important issues to me. 6,500 Kelvin is the light spectrum I like to use. There are more efficient spectrums, but I like being able to take nice photos in my grow room as well. And 6,500 Kelvin is about the perfect temperature of light for taking your photos and videos. So I accidentally stumbled into that because I got into photography after mushroom growing. They do it around here. Not sure what they do around there. Danny says, hello. Well, hello, Danny. Yggdrasil, a lot of cows are fed antifungals, so that spores never produce anything. Well, pasture-fed cattle. Most people around here just raise pasture-fed cattle. The only time I've ever seen cattle go to a feedlot around here is like the last week of their lives or something when they're fattening them up. Keep your own special fungus cows, lol. Oh my God, if you farmed cattle to farm fungus, you could have a sacred cow patch. Oh, man. John Grady, I was thinking about something like inoculating a termite mound or a pine bark beetles to spread the hardwood mushrooms. That I have thought about. I have not gotten into anything like that. I'm pretty sure that purposely inoculating something like that counts against you with the Forestry Service. So you have to be really careful about that. Did you have a video on making LC liquid? If not, could you share the recipe? I do. I tried to pull the recipe up earlier. I couldn't share it. But you can get the Shroom Supply premix It is cheap and fantastic. I make my own premix now. I'm thinking about selling it, but again, I don't mind sharing it. But it's like 5 parts potato dextrose, 1 part malt extract. 20 grams of that mixture goes to 20 grams per 500 milliliters of water. I do have a video on how I make liquid culture, though. No, I don't. In that one, I just say that I use the shroom supply premix because at that time, that's what I was using. I will make another video on making liquid culture and how I make up my premix. And then I will post a link underneath that because apparently I told you guys how I make my lids and said, they'll never buy lids. And then you guys bought lids like freaking crazy. So thank you. Let's see. Have you tried growing milky whites yet? I am trying them right now. What substrate have you used or will you use? I am using Master's Mix. I hope they need bacteria because I found out my blocks were contaminated today when I came in. Not bad, just slight bacterial infection. So to initiate fruiting in the casing layer, I am not using a casing layer, Breck. And people used to say that you had to use a casing layer with king oysters. And I quickly found out that that was not true. Plastic worked just fine for the cut in a little hole. So I am hoping that with milky mushrooms, you can just cut a hole. So that's what I tried. I just tried to fruit them like oysters. We'll see what happens. I put them in literally Friday. So I wouldn't expect to see anything for 7 days until Friday would be the soonest. And I have no idea if milky mushrooms take longer to fruit than oysters. From my understanding, watching the videos of them growing them on straw, it looks like about the same process as growing oysters. But see, they do use cold water pasteurization, the lime pasteurization for it, which is not as clean in my opinion as the heat pasteurization. So it may be that they have bacteria naturally in the substrate more than like we would, and therefore is actually easier for them to produce in that manner. Not sure what. I'm not sure how it's going to taste. I've heard some things that make me thinking that the milky may not be the best one for commercial production around the United States because it's sorry. I've heard that it doesn't have the best flavor. And I've heard that this outside of the stem's really hard, but the inside has got like no texture other than marshmallow to it. So not sure how it's going to work out. That doesn't sound very appealing to the American palate. But I'm going to try it anyways and see. And if it does work, I will sell the crap out of it and I will offer it on the website in liquid culture form. All transparency, I got my liquid culture for the milky mushroom from Lenny Rockwell. He says that he has fruited it. I think he said he fruited it on Master's Mix. Maybe he said wheat bran. I don't, or maybe he even said straw. See, I don't even know. But I will if I grow it and I sell it to chefs, then I will sell it on the website because that's kind of my rule. Is that if I sell it to chefs, I will, or if I use it or sell it regularly, then I will sell it on the website. But you can go get it from him. So my steamer got flattened by a tree, and I need to stem 50 bags quickly, but I don't have anything left. I don't have a bin to help me. 55-gallon drum with a removable lid and a bung hole that can be opened up. Open up the bung hole, put water in the bottom, get a propane burner, put it underneath, jack the heat on up, get steam flowing out the top. Once you got steam flowing out the top, reduce your flow to where you have just a steady stream. Make sure that your steam load is reduced so that you're getting as much recycling of your water as possible. Steam it for a few hours and see if that can get you, man. If it's that kind of an emergency, no promises, but T.R. Davis used to use cat killer steamers is what we called them. It was literally just a trough with propane burners in it or underneath it and water on the bottom. And that was how he worked for a little bit with the. In fact, that's how a lot of people do it out west, where they've got a lot more, where gas is cheaper than electric. Sorry I had to deal with something. What did I miss? I have no idea when you left, so I've got no idea what you missed. I'm using a bucket heater for heat and humidity in my grow room. It has been working pretty well. Do you anticipate any problems from this? Keep it clean. Eventually, you don't want to be air conditioning a grow room and steam humidifying it. Eventually, you'll want to get a cool mist humidifier. And cool mist humidifiers, you don't want to use in a bucket because heat is the death of those. But I don't see a problem with it so long as you can control your temperatures. Another idea is spores or LC in a super soaker and go walk through the woods with a gallon of LC. I have actually seen people do that, and I have no idea how it worked. But considering that Paul Stamets does a chainsaw oil with spores in it, I can see it working pretty well. There is a device. Ben and I talked about this years ago, and I had completely forgotten about it. I'm going to look into it again. But there is a device that is used for killing trees, and it is it's got a liquid pouch that goes on a belt or a backpack. It's like a little hammer, a little hatchet hammer. You just cut a groove in your tree, like just slam it down, and it sends like a little jolt of liquid into it. And what it is, it's poison, and you can poison a tree with that little cut, right? That device. It's for using like removing invasive species and such. Ben and I talked about making a spore mixture and then walking through the woods and just clicking into trees and spreading spores that way, into dead logs, and you could even use it on the ground or whatever. But it's basically powered by the fact that when you do that sling, it slings the liquid down into the little. It's got like these little syrettes basically into it. So that would be neat. That's what they did in Amsterdam when they banned most mushrooms, the super soaker spores thing. Oh, really? That does not surprise me. They are a freedom-loving people. How's it been keeping temps down in the new grow area? Well, Thomas, I don't even have air conditioning in my grow rooms yet, so it's not going super great. But I've already switched over to warm weather species, and our mushrooms are growing fine right now. We are working on getting the air conditioning in right now, this week, maybe next. And with that, we should be in a lot better position to handle the heat. We also bought enough insulation on Sunday to do all 4 grow rooms when they get built out. So we're going to be insulating and then doing the last part will be a surprise for you guys in the video. Let's see. Hey, babe. You all right? You're just awfully smiley. Okay. Not even a word to him. Oh God, yes, CNN. Thanks for all your vids and passion you put out. Great how you're always trying new things. Much love. Thanks, Kyle. You too, man. I forgot, for your grow rooms, do you only use ultrasonic foggers for humidity? That is all I use, Yggdrasil. I just use the House of Hydro system. Damn, I didn't know you had a kickback from House of Hydro. Just bought a 12-disc fogger unit. What other products manufacturers are you working with? Also, you told me to put a few milliliters in 4. A few milliliters in 4 jars. Did you mean grain jars or liquid culture? I meant liquid culture jars. If you want to be able to make more syringes yourself, then you should be able to go liquid culture to liquid culture, expand it out, and you get, for 500 milliliters, that's about it's about 40 syringes worth. I mean, technically 500 milliliters to 10 cc's or 10 liquid milliliters each would be 50, but you always count on some waste. Plus, the further you get down into the jar, the harder it is to get it out. So there's waste there too. Also, on your House of Hydro, if you email John at House of Hydro, just send an email to the House of Hydro. Let them know that you meant to use my code on your purchase. They might still send you your discs, and they'll probably still give me my kickback. John's really good about that kind of stuff. He's a good, honest man. I like John a lot. Got a lot of respect for him. He's got also fantastic customer service. How does the heat affect the grow? What are the advantages of growing in the cold and the heat? Cold slows down your mushrooms. You get better colors. You get better textures. You get better flavors. Heat speeds everything up, and it's fine, but you'll get more airy mushrooms, less dense. In my opinion, that slow growing is kind of essential to the best flavor, the best texture, the best colors, the best everything about the mushroom. So I always grow as cold as I can go. I always grow as cold as I can grow while still growing the widest range possible. I want to have a small edible operation so bad. I don't care if I don't make anything. I just love anything myco. I don't know why. I mean, you're bitten by the bug. That's why. That's the way it happens. What season, warm or cool, are pearl oyster, blue oyster, and bear's head? You mean the mother of pearl or like the regular white pearl oyster? Are you talking like my strains, or are you talking strains that are like commercially available? And while you're clarifying, I'll just go into like bear's head because mine's about the same strain. I think a bear's head most people have. That one grows in a wide range of conditions. I grow that one spring, summer, and fall. Blue oyster I grow fall, winter, and spring. And pearl from Mycelium Emporium would be another fall, winter, spring. The mother of pearl, I don't know how warm it'll grow, but it's growing right now, and my grow room is reaching the 80s in the middle of the day. Would you not recommend? Oh man, golly! I'm telling you guys, my joints are getting so tight. Would you not recommend a Walgreens type mister? I'll recall you say something about they don't last long. They don't last long, and the only fire I've ever had in my operation, Ben woke up in the middle of the night one night, and that thing had the refill valve had messed up, and the safety cutoff had messed up. So the thing zapped itself and melted the whole thing into a nice pile of flames. And Ben woke up to the smell of burning plastic and lights because he used to sleep next to the grow room. How cold can you grow lion's mane and blue oyster? Golly, I down to about freezing. I'd say the 40s is safe. It'll be slow, but you can grow them a long time, man. Or a long way down. Yeah, the fire. I remember hearing you talk about it. Yeah, that was not my happiest moment. I've only ever had 2 fires in my entire operation. The only fire I've ever had in a grow room was with one of those Walgreens humidifiers. And the second fire I had was in a lab, and it was I'd sprayed everything down with alcohol like I normally did, and my propane torch ran out of propane, so I used an alcohol lamp, and the alcohol lamp caught the alcohol on fire, where the propane torch would never, like I would try to catch the alcohol I was spraying around on fire with that propane torch, and it never would. It's like it evaporated faster than it would be able to burn. My only fire is my still air box with flaming needles. Got to get it. That was mine. Still air box with an alcohol lamp. Nicely blew it up and shot some plastic pieces into my face. I have had bad luck with Caro grows stupid slow. They must put anti-contam stuff in it or something. Light malt extract much better. $5 for a pound at brew store. Potato dextrose he uses works great too. Best is the diversify newts at all stages. Yeah, I mean, I put a little bit of bread yeast in there sometimes, that kind of stuff. So, spores or slants, which could be stored longest? It depends. The quick answer is spores. The long answer is it depends. Oh, yep, somebody else already said spores, Kyle. Certain species, the spores do not last long at all. I'm trying to remember what the delineation was, but I think with oysters, even though spores store for a long time, the spores will actually lose their viability really quickly. So Not related to growing, but do you eat Verpus? What is Verpus? Verpus. Is that stingcorn? Related to the morels. I have never eaten one, man. I knew about early morels, but I did not know not as delicious as the meat tornado. Nothing's as delicious as the meat tornado. What's your favorite strain of shiitake? How long do you incubate it before initiating fruiting? Do you have a cold shock and slap the bags? Also, do you keep lights off in your incubation room? Okay, so to answer it one by one, what's your favorite strain of shiitake? The only strain that I've got a lot of experience with is 3782. I am trialing 4 different strains right now. I'm trialing a Japanese strain, a Chinese production strain, 3782 and 3790. We're doing all side-by-sides as much as possible. I've got a few other shiitake strains that I'm working on, and I've already got some. I'm planning on spore printing them and crossing them and playing with them and seeing what I like. So the quick answer is 3782. I know and love. I've heard amazing things with the 3790, and this Chinese production strain is the one that seems to be taking over the commercial world by storm. But I have high hopes for this Japanese variety I just got my hands on. Had to sign an import license to get that sucker. So that's the answer on that one. How long do you incubate it before initiating fruiting? 3782, I would always incubate for 8 to 10 weeks, usually 8. How do I have a cold shock and slap the bags? We stopped doing the cold shock. We found that the slap was more necessary than the cold shock. Also, do you keep lights off all in your incubation room? Now, I don't remember if you were on the tour or not, but my shiitake blocks are incubating out there. The sun rises, there's windows, it gets pretty light in there during the day. So, Joris says, hi, Andrew. Well, hello, Joris. Howdy, long time no see. What's up, Anthony? I found 2-year-old spores on my dehydrator from a variety. I'll ask to put it on agar. Worked just fine. Great, Kyle. That's awesome. Yeah, certain varieties of spores. And see, that's another thing, man. Like, that's common wisdom. What I said about spores losing viability, I've never actually experienced that. That was all just what I've heard. Every time I've ever had spore prints, I've been able to get spores off. So I don't know. You can store oyster spores, but they lose viability. That's confusing. Short answer sounds like slants are best for oysters, but not necessarily others. So the short answer, John, really is that slants are better if you want to keep that variety. Spores are better if you want to keep genetic diversity. That's the way I look at it. But spores probably do keep longer. How would you adapt a shiitake strain to a new environment, like 80% humidity outdoor year long? Okay, interesting problem. I would hatch spores out in as close to that environment as possible. So if I want to create something heat tolerant, I will jack the heat way up on my spores. I will and try to get them to hatch out, germinate, so to speak, grow out, and then I will sector them out, and I will select the one that grows the fastest and the best and work on it like that. And then I would just keep doing that over and over again. You can do isolates, you can do crosses. There's a few different ways to do it, but that would be it. If you're wanting to take a strain and train it to that, then you will just take it and grow it out in those same conditions and find the line that's doing the best. That is basically a genetic isolation. You'll be getting certain nuclei that you won't be getting with the rest of the clone. So not every clone is exactly alike, I guess, kinda in mushrooms. It's really weird, and there's only so much control you have over it. Kyle says it depends on how you store them in both scenarios. Yeah, I figured that makes a lot of sense. Michael Montero, what's up? How are morel growing techs going? I'm just getting back into myco, and I'm fascinated with they grow them at home now. So from my understanding is there are people who can get them to grow now. It's primarily the blonde morel, I think, or maybe it's the Burns morel. But it's none of them are able to get it to grow in any economic kind of way. So, like, nobody's able to do it and make money. Otherwise, morels would be growing like crazy. Though I've heard the Chinese are doing really nice outdoor grows, and guy on Facebook, Karstensen or something, I don't know. I think he was claiming to grow some. I don't know that I ever saw proof. I don't know if he's growing them or not. I just saw that he was putting in the beds. So maybe he is, maybe he's not. I'm not sure on that one. But if you do it right, spores. That makes a lot of sense, Kyle. I was actually thinking that you could probably store spores in RO water, in a sterile vial, in your refrigerator. So take RO water, sterilize it, use it to suck up your spores, and then you'll have a non-nutrient fluid to store your spores in. Put them in the refrigerator; they probably last forever. I have actually been thinking a lot about causing mutations. So taking spores, setting them out in the sunlight, then taking them, see if I can get them to grow. And so UV light would be a good way. UV causes mutations, or maybe taking 2 panes of glass, taking a spore print, and then putting that out in the sun, and then using that, and just trying to cause as many mutations as possible. There's a lot of mutagenic chemicals, radiation sources, which is what UV, it's just UV radiation, basically. I don't even remember what else, but there's a lot of stuff I want to play with in the breeding space. I've had to put all of that on hold. I've got 150 cultures I still have to trial and then get out to you guys on the website. I mean, not all 150 will go on the website. And I've got a bunch of those trialing right now, and most of them prove my breeding strategy, which I'm not sharing yet. I will share it after I develop my next breeding strategy. But my breeding strategy is proving to be very effective at allowing me to select interesting phenotypes really quickly. I'm a little overwhelmed with how much production work I'm doing, so I'm not able to do all the trials that I'd like to do. But that's how I got the mother of pearl. That's how I've got the king blue. That's how I've got the fat man and the little boy black poplar. It seems impressive considering the heat added. Oh, on the spores. Yeah, I'm actually really interested in that. That might be really interesting. Might have some interesting properties behind it. Recently purchased a pack and received Devil's Back oyster. Do you know the scientific name or any important details? I do, Michael. I didn't realize I sent that to you. Or no, maybe I did. So the Devil's Back is an oyster that's being trialed. It's a wild oyster. It's collected from the Devil's Back at Panther Creek State Park. It is a rock spine that is between 2 sinkholes, so it looks like a twisted spine. I guess that's why they call it the Devil's Back. I've got pictures of the wild mushroom, and I've got pictures of it now in the grow room. And I will tell you that it is one of the more impressive wild oysters I've come across, much like the turtle song ended up being. The Devil's Back is a very good fruiting mushroom, very good producer. It is Pleurotus austriatus, so it is a tree oyster. And it is as aggressive an oyster as I have ever seen. So have fun with it, man. It's going to be fun. You should have gotten that as well as your bulk pack, I'm assuming. You should have gotten just a thing without the bulk pack. So let's see. So if I take a print from your King Blue, is it isolated? So I won't see much change in the next generation typically. So yes, that is an isolation.